All right, Boomer Live. Welcome, everybody, to the third annual Fans Only Sports Draft Show. I am your host, Zach Drapeau. I'm going to be joined alongside a couple of my colleagues later today. And today we are so excited to bring you the draft show. It's been 364 days since my last favorite day of the year, and we're finally back. This is my holiday. This is what I prepare for every single year. I released my fifth and final mock draft earlier today on FansOnlySportz.com, which you can go check out right now. In fact, you should, because we're dropping some of the best sports media content in the Northeast and hell, I'll say the country right now. But we've been huge supporters of the NFL draft. Me and my other colleague, Jay Costa, have released multiple mock drafts, which we will be showing throughout the show. I'm also going to be joined by CEO of Fans Only Sports, Matthew Joels, coming up very shortly. And we are 20 minutes away from the draft starting right now. Obviously, the Carolina Panthers are going to be on the clock first with the number one overall pick that we are all assuming will be Bryce Young, quarterback of the future for them. And the rest of the draft is completely up in the air. So it's one of the most unpredictable drafts that we have seen in the draft's long and storied history. There are expected to be at least 4 quarterbacks drafted in the first round, with as many as possibly 6, which would tie an all-time record set back in 2018. And let's kind of go through the works right now. So the quarterback class is obviously the most polarizing coming up. We have Bryce Young, expected to be number 1. We have C.J. Stroud, the Ohio State pocket passer. We have the University of Kentucky's Will Levis and the University of Florida's Anthony Richardson, who are expected to be 3 and 4, either one going before the other, depending on which team selects who. We also have Hendon Hooker, the 25-year-old out of Tennessee, who was a late bloomer in the draft process. He had a great career at Tennessee, 3 years starting, but over the last couple months in the draft process, especially at his pro day at Tennessee, just took the world by storm. So Hendon Hooker has been all the rage. We expect him to go somewhere between 20 and 32. I'm looking at you, Minnesota. And I will be putting up my mock draft, Jay's mock draft, and the big board coming up soon so you can see where all those go. Wide receiver is another strong position group in this class, headlined by Jackson Smith and Jigba, Zay Flowers, and Quentin Johnston, who are all expected to be probably before the 20th pick. Cornerback is another strong class this year with, again, probably 5 corners expected to go in the first round. 3 definite, and then up to 5 or 6, depending on where you like Julius Brents. And then edge rusher is always going to be a strong class. So you have multiple edge rushers going in the top 10 this year. And then we have guys like Nolan Smith, Luke Van Ness. Who am I forgetting right now? Miles Murphy is also expected to go in the first round. So as many as possibly 6, 7, or 8 edge rushers in the first round. We do have the likelihood of some trades going on. The most talked about trade coming up to the draft process has been Arizona at number 3, who is expected, or maybe not expected, but is the most likely to trade down in the top 10. Arizona has multiple holes that they need to fill, and they would benefit greatly by having multiple draft picks in the first round of this year, or possibly just getting draft pick capital through the next 2 or 3 years. Houston Texans have made the biggest splash today, where in a very quarterback-hungry group, in my opinion, the Texans are possibly the top of that list. Texans don't have an outstanding roster, but they do have some pieces, and they have not had a quarterback since Deshaun Watson's departure 2 years ago. So they are the number 2 pick. There is, like I said, Stroud, Levis, and Richardson are expected to be there at the number 2 pick. And the Texans came out, per sources today, all over social media, saying that they will be passing on C.J. Stroud. That was their exact words. If C.J. Stroud is available at number 2, we will be passing on him. That could mean a couple things. One, first of all, if the Panthers do shock the world and go with C.J. Stroud, I would expect the Texans to pick Bryce Young at that point. 2, we've seen Will Levis climb up draft boards over the last 2 months, and then due to the NFL Combine, where Anthony Richardson was the best performer of any position, we could possibly see a shock of one of those 2, Levis or Richardson, going at number 2. What I think is most likely is they are going to be going for one of the main edge rushers this year, or defensive lineman. You got Will Anderson Jr. You have Tyree Wilson are the top 2 edge rushers, and then you have the biggest polarizing player in this draft this year, Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter, for those of you who have not heard, the tragic news was part of a fatal car crash after celebrating his Georgia Bulldogs national championship win. The fatal car crash tragically took the lives of 2 members of that organization, 1 player and 1 recruiter. Jalen Carter was given some responsibility of the crash due to him being the driver of one of the vehicles that were in that crash. He has pled guilty to misdemeanors. He is under a 1-year probation period. He has to serve 80 hours of community service, but his legal trouble is in the past. Besides this one matter, Jalen Carter has been a model student at the University of Georgia. He has very good background. There's been no other character flaws, and he has been the most dominant defensive player in the nation for 2 years in a row now. If you can think back to the 2022 NFL draft, where 4 Georgia defensive players went in the first round, even then they were saying that this kid, Jalen Carter, was the best player on that team. So without that tragic incident that happened in February or January, it's very likely that Jalen Carter would have been the number 1 bona fide pick in this draft. You've seen him go all the way down to as far as 10 or 11 in some mock drafts because of this. It's very likely that one team will be able to get past the legal situation that he was in a couple months ago and draft him for the skill and the potential that he has. In my opinion, Jalen Carter is Aaron Donald with 15 more pounds of muscle. He has that type of explosiveness. He has that great of hands, and he has that type of knack for finding the quarterback. So Jalen Carter is going to be the most polarizing player. It's going to be very interesting to see where he goes. And then that's most of all of my, what do you want to call it? It's most of the things I want to get out of the way before we get going. We are now 13 minutes away from the draft. I still have to figure out how I'm watching this draft. Did you guys know that you have to have a TV provider to watch on an NFL app, which I think is crap? Didn't mean to rhyme. Let's see, what else can we talk about? You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and throw up my my mock draft at this time. Let me throw it on the screen a little bit better here. Okay, so as you can see, we got 3 different tabs, let's call them. We have 3 different tabs. While it may be a bit confusing, I'm going to lay it out as simply as possible for you. In the middle here, we have my big board of the entire draft, starting from my number 1 prospect, which is Will Anderson Jr., and it will go down all the way to 235, which is how many prospects I have in my big board this year. On either side, you will see my mock draft all the way to your left, and Jay Costa's mock draft, again, who will be joining us later on in the show. Jay does have a mock draft that goes 7 rounds. However, he was only able to get me the first round at this moment. So maybe when he's on the show, we can talk to him about who he sees going in rounds 2 and 3, which will be broadcasted tomorrow at noon o'clock Eastern time, I believe, on the NFL app and anywhere you're watching this, ABC, ESPN. But this is my mock draft. So I'm going to start with mine. I'm going to let Jay talk about his when he gets here. And we will go over the big board as we see fit going through the draft. As you can see, I do have player comparisons here, which I thought was a fun little thing I added. Me and Jay talked about over the course of the day. But yeah, number 1, I think it's the only sure pick in this draft. Sometimes you have like the top 3 are kind of solidified. You know who, let's say, number 15 is going with, right? Something like that. There is no pick that is with certainty going to be drafted after the number 1 pick, which as of this moment on FanDuel, Bryce Young is minus 9,000 odds to be drafted number 1 by the Panthers. I am not a Panthers fan, but of course, because of this draft and because I found it in my closet, I'm supporting Carolina Blue for the Carolina Panthers. And I do think that Bryce Young, I have him here on my number 3 prospect. He's my number 1 ranked quarterback on my big board, and his comparison is Tua Tagovailoa. Now, Tua, as we all know, had a troubling season this year, dealing with a lot of injury and things of that nature. But besides that, Tua Tagovailoa is one of the most poised, accurate quarterbacks we have in the NFL right now. You see what happened with him at the beginning of the season when he was surrounded with weapons, with Tyreek Hill, with Jalen Waddle, with Mike Gesicki. They got off to a 3-0 start, 5-0 start, whenever it was before he got hurt. And he had unbelievable accuracy. He was passing, I believe, 72%. He is a bit on the shorter side. Bryce Young a bit bigger than Tua. Bryce Young is going to be about 6 foot, 192 pounds at the moment. And I think that comparison is beautiful because Bryce Young was the Alabama quarterback that hopped into the starting role as soon as Tua left Alabama. And they're almost a clone copy of each other, with Bryce Young having possibly a bit better of an arm and a bit quicker of a decision-making ability. So think about Tua's ceiling, add a little bit to it, and that's Bryce Young. Bryce Young is going to be the best quarterback that comes out of this draft, except a possibility of Anthony Richardson, who has the biggest ceiling of the draft because of his athletic ability. However, we'll get to him in a little bit here. I don't believe Anthony Richardson will – We'll get to Anthony Richardson in a little bit. He has some question marks that he certainly has to answer. Number 2 pick, Houston. They say they're not taking CJ Stroud. They've adamantly said that they're not going to do it. I don't believe them. I believe it's a smokescreen. I believe they're trying to see if anybody will trade up with them to get more draft capital because they need some draft capital. When CJ Stroud is still there at number 2, Houston has 3 picks here. They could go CJ Stroud, which is the best quarterback possible. They could go Jalen Carter, which is the best prospect possible. Or they should go CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud is 6'4", 225 pounds. He has decent athleticism. He can move around the pocket, and he can get you a couple yards if he needs to running. And he has the best arm in this draft. One of the best mid-range quarterbacks in this draft as far as accuracy goes, which is where the NFL is tending to. And he's played pro-style offenses at Ohio State. He's been led from his high school career in Georgia all the way to Ohio State under pro-style offenses with pro-style head coaches. He ticks all the box. People are going to give him a Dwayne Haskins comparison because he seems exactly like him. And Dwayne Haskins' single year starting for Ohio State, which CJ Stroud only had a single year starting for Ohio State. But Dwayne Haskins lined more on his athleticism. CJ lies almost completely on his passing ability. He is as dominant as a passer, accuracy-wise, as we've seen in a while. And my comparisons here, I couldn't pick one. But if I had to pick either Jared Goff or Derek Carr as his comparison, I would say Jared Goff. And I'm not talking about Lions Jared Goff, where, they might move on from him, they might not. We're talking prime Los Angeles Rams Jared Goff, where he can throw the ball anywhere he wants to on the entire field. He has mobility to get out of the pocket. If Bryce Young was not in this draft class, CJ Stroud would be the number 1 pick in this draft class. That is a talent that you're going to be getting. That's a talent that Houston says they're going to pass up on at the number 2 pick, and I don't buy it. If they do, I think it will be a questionable call. No matter who they draft at number 2, they will be getting an elite talent. To be honest with you, CJ Stroud might be the least elite talent as far as him, Carter, or Will Anderson. But that just shows more about Anderson and Carter's defensive ability rather than Stroud's quarterbacking ability. Quarterback's the most important position in football. You haven't had one for 2 years, and you guys have picked in the top 3 for the last 2 years, or the top 4 in the last 2 years. Go get yourself CJ Stroud. And then number 3, I have Will Anderson, bona fide number 1 pick since last year's draft. The only reason he's falling is because the Panthers and the Texans need a quarterback. And if the Texans don't get a quarterback, this pick will be Will Anderson. His edge rushing ability, I have him compared to Von Miller. That is the type of explosiveness he has. Power and finesse moves. He has everything. And he will be the next great edge rusher in the NFL, likely to get 15 sacks to 20 sacks in his second year. And he will probably get 10 sacks in his first year. That's the type of dominant, captain-like all-pro ability that you will be drafting from Will Anderson from day 1. Easy starter, easy pick here. The Cardinals need a lot of help, and this will instantly make their defense able to compete in the NFC West with the likes of the 49ers and Joey Bosa. And I guess the Rams defense fell off at this offseason, but the Seattle defense is always going to be good. This will instantly put the Cardinals right there as far as one of the best defenses in that division. Number 4, we have the Indianapolis Colts, who are one of the most quarterback needy teams in the NFL, have trotted out 4 different quarterbacks in the last 4 years. In the last couple years, they have brought out the likes of Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz, Phillip Rivers, Jacoby Brissett. They're just Band-Aid after another Band-Aid, and it's because they won't go out and take the time to mold a rookie quarterback the way that most franchises will start. And they're finally picking in the top 10. They haven't picked in the top 10 in a while. This is a no-brainer quarterback. If CJ Stroud does not get picked by the Texans and no one trades up to 3, which is another possibility, right? If the Texans do not draft a quarterback at number 2, say they get Will Anderson, which seems the most likely pick if they don't draft a quarterback. Say they get Will Anderson, I would put the percentage at 99% of a team trading up with Arizona for the number 3 pick to get CJ Stroud. Whether that be the Colts, who have been talking to Arizona all offseason about trading up to number 3 if needed, whether that be another quarterback-hungry team like the Raiders, like the Vikings, like the Tennessee Titans, who are in the same division as the Texans and the Colts, or possibly the Seattle Seahawks, who are not a quarterback-needy team. They have Geno Smith, who will be good at least this year and possibly 2 more years. But it's always nice to look for the future. Geno Smith, 32 years old. He's not going to be your guy forever. If you like that guy, go up and get him at number 3. But we have it right here. We didn't trade. So Will Anderson goes 3. The Colts have a pick between Will Levis and Anthony Richardson on big board. Mind you, adamant Colts fan here. I want them to get Anthony Richardson if it is at this spot. Nay, I want them to get Jalen Carter at this spot because I personally wouldn't want Anthony Richardson or Will Levis to be my franchise quarterback. That's neither here nor there. I would rather wait until next year and try to get Caleb Williams. But, yeah, that's my take. I would rather the Colts get a defensive player and figure the quarterback out another time because, to me, Levis and Richardson Levis has a ceiling. Like, he will not be any better than the person I have him compared to, which is Kirk Cousins. And Kirk Cousins is a fine player, but he's not going to win a Super Bowl. Anthony Richardson has the highest ceiling in this draft, but it is unlikely he gets there. Anthony Richardson's comparison for me is Josh Allen. He is 6'4", 245 pounds. He can run. I think he posted like a 4.38 40-yard dash, which is ridiculous. And he can throw the ball deep downfield. Has a lot of accuracy issues and doesn't have a great decision-making ability. But that was Josh Allen's knack coming out of Wyoming. I think Anthony Richardson and Josh Allen are very similar. And Josh Allen hit his ceiling. Anthony Richardson will need to go to a very similar system. I think the Colts, they're under a new coaching scheme. So far, their general manager, Chris Ballard, has done a very good job over his last couple of years building a good team. They have a good offensive line once they're healthy. It's going to take a lot for Anthony Richardson to meet his ceiling. Could he do that on the Colts? Possibly. Would he do that on a better team? Like possibly where I have him mocked to the Tennessee Titans or even the Raiders. I think he might have a better chance. So neither of that is here nor there because the Colts have been linked to Will Levis for months now. He seems to be their guy. I don't like Will Levis. Who did I say I have him mocked to? Kirk Cousins. You know, he'll throw 30 touchdowns and 6 picks, and he'll lose every primetime game. That's just how I see Will Levis. He's a little bit more agile, a little bit better athlete than Kirk. There's this video that's been going viral of him hurdling a defender in college. Yeah, that's great. I don't see him ever being a top 10 quarterback in the league. But I've been wrong before, and hopefully for Will Levis' sake, I'm wrong again. Wish the kid nothing but the luck, especially wishing the Colts nothing but luck. I'm not very hopeful, unfortunately. And finishing out my top 5 before we get into the actual show, because I got to take a water break before we actually get into the draft. I have Tyree Wilson, who's been the biggest draft climber over the last 3 months since the end of the season. Tyree Wilson is an edge rusher out of Texas Tech who has unbelievable measurables, 6'6", 270 pounds, runs like the wind, is a very physical tackler. He will bull rush or he will swim past you. Going to the Seattle Seahawks, who at this point, they have so many picks this year and next year because of the Russell Wilson trade. They should just go for best player available every single time and just worry about getting their quarterback another time. They should just be all in on Geno Smith this year, getting him the best weapons, putting the best pieces around him offensively and defensively. And Tyree Wilson at this point is the best option available. If you don't want to go corner, and the Seahawks just got 2 great corners last year in the draft, so I had them pick an edge rusher. And that's going to do it for the draft pre-show. Appreciate everybody for coming on, listening to me ramble for a little bit. When we get back, we are going to be getting ready for the number 1 pick. The Carolina Panthers will be on the clock. They will most likely be drafting a quarterback. Will it not be Bryce Young? Could Anthony Richardson's ceiling employ the Panthers to draft him early? Who knows? We will get into that when we do come back. Thank you guys for watching Fans Only Sports 3rd annual draft show. Make sure you guys go check out www.fansonlysportz.com. And I will be back with the boys after a quick commercial. All right. Welcome back, everybody. The NFL draft is about to start. Roger Goodell could be taking the podium at any moment. I should be joined here by co-hosts Matt and Jay at some point, so we're going to kind of just get it rolling. We're going to be here for the next 3 hours, going for every pick in the first round. Again, so excited. Carolina Panthers will be on the clock first, followed by the Houston Texans, Cardinals, Colts, then Seahawks to finish out the top 5. After that, buckle your seatbelts, everybody. This is going to be a crazy night. Super fun. NFL draft gets a lot of flack. I know I remember Bill Burr having a great comedy bit about it's like going to a high school graduation that you know nobody of because they're just going to have all the listees at the end of it, which is so funny. It's totally true, but I love it. And I think it's the craziest, possibly besides the Super Bowl, the craziest 3 hours in the NFL season all year long. And I'm going to eat it up. I'm going to be here for the entire time. It's going to be so great. Can't wait. Let's see what you guys are saying. Anybody streaming us right now? Anybody watching? Let me know who you guys have in your mock draft. Let me know where you think CJ Stroud's going to go if you don't think he's going to go to the Houston Texans. Me personally, I think they're throwing up a smokescreen. I think they are going to draft CJ. I don't see why they wouldn't get a quarterback. They've needed one for so long now. We can also talk about Lamar Jackson, who just signed a deal 2 hours ago. Highest paid quarterback in NFL history per year, of course. 5 years, 260 mil, 185 million guaranteed. Lamar Jackson finally got his bag. Very happy for him. The Ravens should have paid him a long time ago. I was kind of hoping the Colts would make a play for him, but that's in the past. So maybe it was Odell Beckham. Maybe the Ravens signing OBJ got him over the hump of, okay, I'll go sign with you guys. Lamar he has gotten hurt over the last 2 seasons, but if he's not in your top 7 quarterbacks in the league, I don't know what you're doing. He deserves to get paid that type of money. I mean, he deserves as much as anybody gets paid. $52 million a year to play a game deserves it. You know, that's the type of market he brings in. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest fan bases of any player in the NFL, and he finally got paid what everybody was expecting him to. If Jalen Hurts deserves 51 mil, Lamar Jackson deserves 52. You think about Pat Mahomes getting paid 45 mil, and now Jalen Hurts getting paid 51 mil. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy, right? I can't remember the exact details of Pat Mahomes' contract right now. I know his signing bonus or his guaranteed money is at least in the 200 to 300 mil range, if not more. So he gets more guaranteed than Lamar. But I'm sure he's okay with it. I'm sure Pat Mahomes is fine with how much money he's making. But he's not making Lamar money. No one is. Lamar Jackson, the highest paid player in NFL history per year. One of the biggest markets. And Baltimore will be a Super Bowl contender for the next 5 years for sure. So good for them for signing their guy. Let's see what other teams can land their franchise quarterback today as the NFL draft is about to commence in a beautiful stadium in Kansas City. It looks amazing there. Another outdoor draft, which I love. They started doing that in Dallas. They did one last year in Detroit. I think the draft last year was in Detroit. I could be wrong. Home of the Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl champions, is where we will see 31 prospects in the first round enter. And here we go, Roger Goodell coming to the stage finally, being booed like hell, as always. Shout out Goodell. You know, you can think whatever you want about Roger Goodell, but he may not be the best commissioner ever. He may not. He may have some shaky things, but he has been the leader of the NFL in one of its most biggest boom periods. He does a great job every year entertaining the crowd at the NFL draft, and he's a great sport about getting his ass booed off every year. All right. I guess for now I will throw up my mock draft. I haven't gotten a real chance to compare mine and Jay's mocks. Our top 9 picks are almost completely the same. 8 out of 9 are the same. He has who does he have that I don't? He has Peter Skoronski. I have Jackson Smith and Jigba. So those are the only differences. Jeez. This girl's really excited announcing some Chiefs legends. That's pretty cool. It's always cool to see in the rounds 2 through 7 to see the legends come back. Players like David Akers and Pat McAfee that have had such an entertaining draft call out. This is probably going to take a good 15 minutes. So I'm going to keep talking for a little bit until we actually get the picks underway. I believe each pick in the top 15 or 16 will get 10 minutes, followed by 5 minutes for the rest of the first round. I believe that's the timing that it has. And then we will see shorter time periods for the next 5 rounds. Of course, rounds 2 and 3 start tomorrow on the NFL Network, starting at 12 o'clock Eastern. And then rounds 4 through 7 will happen. I believe it's broadcasted. If not, it's online. The picks are. That will start Saturday at 8 in the morning and go all the way to like 5 p.m., something like that. Pat Mahomes hopped on stage with the Super Bowl trophy with Travis Kelce. Jeez. It must be a nice time to be a Chiefs fan, boy. Here's a question for all you guys out there. Is Travis Kelce your number one NFL player you'd want to party with? If not Travis Kelce, who would it be? I think I might pick Travis Kelce. You know, Gronk's retired, so you can't pick him. They pulled Travis Kelce off because he was being too hype. That's awesome. All right. The draft's officially open. Wow, that was quicker than I thought. Carolina Panthers are on the clock with the first pick. Here we go. Carolina Panthers have not made the playoffs in 5 seasons. Ten minutes on the clock for the Panthers to make their selection. Frank Reich, newly hired head coach. The GM said, what do you need to start your team? He says, I need a quarterback, so they take the number 1 overall pick. Frank Reich in a great position in Carolina. They do have a pretty solid roster. They had to give up DJ Moore to get the number 1 pick, but they do have other receivers. They have a pretty good O-line, good pieces on defense, including Brian Burns. They will be pretty well off, I got to say. So good for them. They're, like I said, in all likelihood going to be drafting Bryce Young. Be interesting to see them go another way. I would love to see an Anthony Richardson shocker come out here. Who else do we have that we can kind of go over in the mock draft before this really starts? We got Jay has Jalen Carter going at 5. Listen, man, I understand what happened with Jalen Carter is such a tragedy and everything that happened there. I still think, do I have to bring you in, Matt? Oh, I didn't realize I had to bring you in. Here, all right. Let's bring Matt Joels into the show. What's going on, my man?
What's up? Thanks.
Hey, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I had to actually bring you in. I thought you could just kind of hop in.
No, I'm actually, I'm a guest on your show. It's your show, man.
I appreciate that. Third annual draft show. We had a great time last year with Chris. What are you thinking about this draft? You do any research on it?
Yeah, I have, but I wanted to just fact check one thing that you mentioned. So the first outdoor draft actually was 2015 in Chicago,
No,
when
really?
they did Selection Plaza at Grant Park. It then went from there to being in Chicago twice before going to Philadelphia in 2017 on the Rocky Steps of the Art Museum, and then to Arlington Stadium, or AT&T Stadium as it's known now in Texas. You mentioned
Mm-hmm.
was 2018. Nashville, Tennessee in 2019. Then was supposed to go to Las Vegas in 2020 to be the kind of kickstart of the Las Vegas Raiders, but COVID happened. And so we
Okay.
didn't have another outdoor draft until the 21 outdoor draft in Cleveland, Ohio, and then Las Vegas last year finally. And now this
It
year
was
we
Vegas last year.
take
I
Kansas
thought
City.
it might have been.
Yeah, that
Dude,
that,
it's such a
that Vegas
beautiful.
draft was supposed to be 2020, but COVID happened and the draft actually took place at ESPN Studios in Bristol.
Yeah, okay. I feel like I remember that now. The outdoor drafts are so cool. It's such a different
They,
atmosphere.
they are.
You got to think
They
with
are.
these.
But I was listening to your mock drafts, and I've obviously been reading them online on FansOnlySportz.com. Mine obviously a little bit different, but that's the benefit of multiple minds.
Everybody's is, especially this year.
It's like we have it. I do think that Carolina is gonna take Bryce Young with the number one pick. I think they traded up specifically to get a quarterback that's going to be a quarterback of the future for them. I think they go with Bryce Young. I agree with you about CJ Stroud at 2. I think the Texans need to figure out their quarterback situation. And he is, without question, I think the best quarterback. I think he's actually better than Bryce Young, but he doesn't have the speed out of the pocket that Bryce Young has. And that's what Carolina's offense is going to be predominantly on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be CJ Stroud at 2. I have Will Anderson at 3 to the Cardinals.
I do as well.
And then Anthony Richardson at 4 to the Colts. And then that's where I start to get a little funky after that. Because
to cut you off real quick, I talked about it a little bit earlier. I said, diehard Colts fan here, as you know, I said I want Anthony Richardson. I would much rather him than Will Levis. I said that I don't want either of them. I'd rather them go defensive player, just best player available. I stand by that. But if they're going quarterback, I'd rather Richardson because his ceiling's so much higher. But they've been linked to Will Levis so much. All the Colts fans and Reddit pages and everything I've looked at says Will Levis, but I agree with you. I would like them to draft Anthony Richardson as well.
Yeah, I think I'm going to see Anthony Richardson at 4 to the Colts. That's then where I start to get a little off of a lot of other people. I think there's some picks that can go a little differently, and I think the first place where I go a little different is that 5 spot to the Seattle Seahawks, which they got from Denver. I think they're going to go on a little bit of the opposite side of the ball. I've got Devin Witherspoon, the cornerback from Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
I think they need to shore up their edges on defense. I think that's a good spot for them to go into that play. And then I kind of get a little defensive happy because then the Detroit Lions are going to get Jalen Carter from Georgia.
I can see that molding with
before we finally get to Will Levis and the Las Vegas Raiders at 7. I don't want to go through like every single pick, but I do want to touch obviously on our home team, the New England Patriots. I think the Patriots are going to be very happy if the tackle from Georgia, Broderick Jones, is still on the board when they get down to the Patriots at 14.
I'm sorry, you kind of cut out on my screen for just 1 second. Who'd you say?
Sorry, Broderick Jones, the tackle from Georgia.
Yeah.
I think if he's on the board at 14 when they get to the Patriots, I think that's going to be a very key pickup for the Patriots to get a player like that. And the Panthers have the pick.
Yep, the Panthers pick is in. Just to touch on Broderick Jones, he's just such a Bill Belichick player because he plays tackle and guard. He's a very long tackle. He fits right in with he's a little bit more of a compact Trent Brown. Trent Brown's obviously 6'8", 350, but this guy's 6'6", 330. So it's a great pick, and it's a deficit position in need for the Patriots. I do like that pick as well. I think I had them picking Broderick Jones in a couple of my mock drafts. I think in my final one, I do have them taking Broderick Jones in my mock draft as well. So there we go. Yeah, that's perfect. Number 14, I have him as my where do I have him on my big
23,
board?
I see him right there on the big board.
Yeah, number 14.
You got him 23 on the big board, but you got him 14 to the Patriots.
23 on my big board. Number 14, I love that pick. That's such a Bill Belichick pick.
Yeah. I think the surprise out of the first round, and people are going to say it's a surprise because of the season that they had, is going to be if the Bears at 9 take Christian Gonzalez from Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people are going to say, well, why? Oregon didn't have that great of a season. But that's not what the NFL draft is always about. It's not about which college team had the greatest season. We're not picking the all-star team here. We're picking players that are going to hopefully play. You hope you get a player that's going to play 10 years.
And I got to cut you off because Roger Goodell is at the podium. The number 1 pick is about to be announced. Here we go. Should be Bryce Young. Yep, Bryce Young is the number 1 overall pick for the Carolina Panthers, the pick that we all kind of assumed was going to happen. Again, the most accurate quarterback in this draft. He doesn't have the size of C.J. Stroud, but his decision-making ability, the fact that he is a winner on Alabama, I don't dislike the pick at all. You trade up from number 9 to number 1 to get your quarterback, and they got him here.
Yeah, I think there's no surprise there about Bryce Young getting that pick. I mean, you don't wear a pink suit to the draft if you're not going number 1 out of Alabama. Right. So there is no, it's like if you show up wearing that pink suit and you're from Alabama, you're going number 1. No surprise there. I think the Panthers are going to start to build a strong base for the future. He's the first Alabama player taken with the number 1 pick since Joe Namath in 1965.
Really?
Which is kind of insane, the number of Alabama players that we have seen come out of that Nick Saban-driven program in the last decade, that they didn't have a player go number 1 in the draft since 1965 and Joe Namath getting picked. But he's the first Alabama player taken with the number 1 overall pick since Joe Namath in 1965. That's kind of crazy because, Joe Namath, of course, went on to have a pretty darn good career. So yeah. If Bryce Young can turn out to be half the quarterback that Broadway Joe did, he's going to have a pretty good career.
And Alabama has always been the school that they never produced too many great quarterbacks. They've always been a school that has tremendous offensive tackles, running backs, wide receivers, defensive players all over the place. The last quarterback taken in the first round by Alabama was on the spot. Mac Jones. Mac Jones, number 16 pick to the Patriots. What was that? 2021? So it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, would have been 3 years ago. Yeah.
Jalen Hurts was drafted, I believe, the year before. Finished his career in Georgia, but was an Alabama player. So Jalen Hurts, obviously the second richest contract in NFL history. Alabama quarterbacks have been very good lately. Tua is up there as well. He was the number 5 pick 4 years ago. So over the last couple of years, Alabama has been cranking out quarterbacks. Is Bryce Young the best one of them? Right now it's easy to say that Jalen Hurts, I guess, is the best quarterback, obviously just leading the Eagles to the Super Bowl this year. Tua, if he hadn't been hurt, you could totally make a case because he started the year off so strong with the Dolphins. I would tend to say that Jalen Hurts is probably better, but he's also on a better organization than either Jones or Tagovailoa at the moment as far as just solid roster all around. So could Bryce Young lead his team to a Super Bowl in 4 years like Jalen Hurts with the Panthers roster? Time will tell. Time
Yeah,
will tell.
I
But
think
he
there's a
is
lot of work still to be done on that roster.
definitely. But he and new head coach Frank Reich just got hired this year. Again, old Colts coach. So I have nothing but good things to say about him. I think he is a quarterback guru, and I think that in especially in the NFC South, that is just wide open this year. Could we see the Panthers win that division? It's possible. I would have it either the Panthers or the Falcons, I believe. So I think Bryce Young is an immediate contender for Rookie of the Year, obviously. And all right, so now the real draft starts. Now the actual draft is beginning. Houston has been making waves for the last 3 months. There's 5 or 6 people that have been linked to this number 2 pick, which is way more than any other year in the draft at the number 2 pick. We both have CJ Stroud. Let me ask you. I think you'll probably say the same thing I did, but if they don't pick CJ Stroud, who are they taking here?
Shock pick. They go to the running game and Bijan Robinson out of Texas.
Bijan's the best running back to come out of the draft in some time. They do have Damian Pierce, who they just drafted last year, who seems pretty good. That would be a crazy pick, though. Bijan Robinson is easily one of the best players in this draft and will probably, unfortunately for him, take a drop just because the position is not of need.
They could also stay in Texas, too, and go with Tyree Wilson out of Texas Tech.
Tyree Wilson has been linked to them as well. He had such a great combine. He's a freak athlete. I really think that, if you don't go with CJ Stroud, which you really should, go with the safe pick. Will Anderson will be an all-pro in at least 5 of the next 10 years. Even if you go Jalen Carter, which is, organizationally, if you can accept what happened to him, his potential on the field is as high as anyone in this draft. He's such a beast of a player. So I would say Will Anderson if they don't pick Stroud. But I've seen crazier things happen. Remember when the Bears traded up to number 2 to get Mitchell Trubisky?
Yeah, look how that turned out.
Look how that turned out. And, hey, Kansas City should be thanking them in this draft right now because 8 picks later they got Mahomes.
I mean, well, I remember Mike Ditka trading every single New Orleans Saints pick away to get Reggie.
Yep. Not only every pick in that draft, but the 2nd and 4th round of the next year. All right, Here we go. Houston Texans selection is in pick number 2. Who do we got?
CJ Stroud.
CJ Stroud. Yep. All right. I'm glad that we stuck with our guns here. We weren't getting fooled by all that nonsense. CJ Stroud is the number 2 pick. He will be the starting quarterback for the Texans for most likely some time. And good for him. I'm very happy for him. As he gets emotional, all these players going through such a whirlwind day. I'm already getting warm, so I'm taking my jacket off. Yeah. CJ Stroud was the pick here. I'm glad that to me, I was very, very certain that they were throwing smoke screens this whole time. I was pretty sure that they were going quarterback. Yeah, I don't have much else to say about that. What do you think about the Texans' potential in the future?
The draft is for all of the teams picking. I think the draft is also a game as well too. And you don't want to. It's like you're playing a 31 pick poker game. Like it's a 31 seat poker game. You don't want to give away your hand. You don't want to. You've got to bluff everybody. So I think that's what the Texans had to do. Obviously, while we're waiting for the Arizona Cardinals pick to come in, I think the biggest question out of this draft, and a lot of people are going to think I'm insane for saying this, is going to be in a day or so from now when we get to the end of the draft. Whoever gets drafted, that last pick, that Mr. Irrelevant pick, you have some big shoes to fill after what Brock Purdy just did this past year.
Certainly do.
Like, you are going to be under a microscope for the whole entire time of your season. You have some very big shoes to try to fill in that pick with what Brock Purdy just did in the past year. And, like it obviously we're talking about a long time down the road from now, a day or two until we get to that pick. But yeah, that's going to be really interesting. CJ Stroud, Heisman finalist in 2022, 85 touchdown passes in 21-22. Not by any means a slouch. And two quarterbacks taken 1 and 2.
And just so you know, as of right now, I'm sure it'll be traded by the end of the 7th round. But as of right now, the Houston Texans do own the number 265th selection. So they will be, at least for right now, drafting Mr. Irrelevant, although I'm sure that will change. Going back to the Brock Purdy thing, as we have a minute here before the Arizona Cardinals make their selection number 3. Talking about Brock Purdy, and of course he has a torn UCL in his throwing arm, so he is possibly likely to be out all year. What would you do if you're the 49ers?
Yeah, well, this is the everlasting Jimmy Garoppolo conversation. It's like, well, Brock Purdy did what he did. Do we get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo? If you get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo, well, you don't have Brock Purdy. It's they thought Jimmy G was the answer. He didn't turn out to be the answer. They brought in other.
Oh, all right. I think we might have gotten Matt. Yep. Matt froze. Oh, there you are. Okay. You froze for a second. Sorry.
Yeah, I was saying they got Jimmy G. He didn't really turn out to be the answer. Trey Lance didn't turn out to be the answer. Brock Purdy turned out to be the answer. He didn't have the offensive line to protect him. I don't know what you really do right now if you're the 49ers. Do you hold Jimmy Garoppolo? Because I think the bigger question is going to be...
Well, Jimmy G's on the Raiders now.
Oh, well, yeah, that's right.
I do
so
like...
So what is your answer? You're gone.
I like Trey Lance, though. So listen, Brock Purdy is likely to be out this whole season. You got Trey Lance. They signed Sam Darnold in the offseason. Call me crazy. But if Brock Purdy can put up the stats and the win-loss record that he did in the 49ers, I think Sam Darnold has a chance to do that as well, because he's going to start the season if Trey Lance doesn't, which it looks like Trey Lance might. And if Trey Lance is healthy, go with him. You traded 3 first-rounders for him. He is an elite talent. He's a big, mobile quarterback like Carson Wentz when he came out, but he broke his ankle. You don't know what that's going to do to his mobility. I do think that Trey Lance, if healthy, can lead the 49ers to a Super Bowl, but I also think if Brock Purdy is healthy, he could lead them to a Super Bowl as well.
Well,
so
I thought Brock Purdy was going to lead them to a Super Bowl.
And he might have if he didn't. What did he tear his UCL in the first quarter of that playoff game?
Yeah, and that's the thing is I thought Brock Purdy was going to lead them to the Super Bowl. If that injury had not happened, we probably were talking about an Eagles-Niners championship game that would have gone extremely differently in my mind. That would have been Niners beating the Eagles and going to the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. And who knows then what could have happened.
Brock Purdy would have been not only the first ever Mr. Irrelevant quarterback to ever get to a Super Bowl, but he would have been the youngest quarterback to ever start in a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Hold on here. I'm seeing the Houston Texans are on the clock.
I have Arizona Cardinals on the clock. Unless something happened and we don't know.
The Texans traded up to number 3.
Oh, geez.
Daniel Jeremiah called this on his mock draft. They're going to trade up and they're going to get Will Anderson as well.
The Texans have traded with the Arizona Cardinals.
Traded for the number 3 pick. Wow.
With the departure of Brandon Cooks, this is a huge move for the Texans.
Wow. Is this when's the last time we saw a team select twice in the top 3 picks? I couldn't tell you.
I couldn't even tell you that one.
I know in 1999, the Colts got 2 in the top 4 picks with Peyton Manning and Edgerrin James, and look how that turned out. So let's see what the Houston Texans. I think this is Will Anderson. I think they go out there, get the quarterback for the future and an edge rush for the future. Very curious to see what they traded to most likely go from number 12 to number 3 here.
Yeah, this is kind of.
They did trade the number 12 pick. And then I wonder what else. Oh, I bet they traded a lot for it. I really do. Huh. Okay. So we already got our first trade. Daniel Jeremiah. I swear to God, his last mock draft came out 2 days ago, and he predicted this exact scenario. Good for Jeremiah. And a lot of people were they thought Arizona was going to trade down this whole time, and they did. All right, so here we go. Number 3 selection. Is it Will Anderson?
This puts the Colts in a really interesting position now.
Well, it was in the same position. I mean, for me, we got it right so far. We got the right 3 players, even though we didn't have the Texans at 2 and 3.
Right. Well, yeah, I had Will Anderson at 3, but I'm going to the Cardinals.
So we have the top 3 picks right so far. And, oh, man. All right, so the Colts are on the board. Come on, Indy. Come on, Indy. This is going to be.
I have Anthony Richardson.
Mm-hmm. Anthony Richardson or Will Levis should be the pick here. Now, hear this, okay? From a Colts fan. We need a quarterback bad. Right now, we have Gardner Minshew and Nick Foles on the roster as our quarterbacks, okay? We need a quarterback. Now, if Gardner Minshew had to play the whole season as the starter, I'm okay with that as long as we get a generational talent at this pick, which I really believe that there are several of them. If we could get, I don't think we really need a corner like that. We definitely don't need Bijan. If we could get one of the top linemen or top cornerbacks, because I don't think the Colts are the type of team to go after Jalen Carter because of his legal troubles. We generally go for very good locker room guys, and Jalen Carter, maybe wrongfully so, has the stigma about him of not a great locker room guy, which I don't believe. If we don't do that, you think it's Anthony Richardson, I think it's Will Levis. I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
Yeah, this has been so far, I think, predictable to what people thought it was going to be for the first top 3. I mean, we'll see if it goes top 4 that way.
Mm-hmm.
I think then it's going to come really interesting. I think later on in the first round is where we start to see some of the picks of players that people are going to scratch their heads and go, wait, who? And it's going to be when we get sort of into that second half, when we get into the 15
yep.
and downward. If you're Miami Dolphins fans, you can go to sleep. You're not picking tonight.
No, you're not. Well, so in one of my original mock drafts, I actually had them trading back into the first round to get Bijan Robinson because I think that's their biggest need. And if they can get a great running back, they might be off to the races as long as 2 is healthy because that offense is scary.
Well, my question is going to be, though, will the NFL allow them to trade back in because they technically forfeited their first round pick?
Yeah, they did, but the NFL can't ban any draft day trade between 2 GMs. So as long as they can't use the number 21 pick, but if they trade, say, like a second rounder this year and a second rounder next year to go from their 53rd pick all the way to, whatever they would trade up for.
Unless they want a New England Patriot them.
Right.
Sorry.
Speaking of the Patriots, because you make a great point, later on in the first round, we will start to see picks that are just maybe head scratchers, but I think unquestionably last year, the Patriots had the most head-scratching pick of Cole Strange, the left guard that they took at the 29th selection, who on everybody's big board was like the 90th best guard. and he turned out to be a hell of a starter. Started all 16 games. Took him a little bit to get accustomed to the league, but he was great. The Colts pick is in. Oh, God. Oh, man. I don't want Will Levis. I wish him the best. I think he'll be good. I don't want to say anything rude because he is a great talent, but I don't want Will Levis. Get Jalen Carter. Just get Jalen Carter. Come on. Put Jalen Carter with DeForest Buckner and let our defensive line kill everybody this year.
Well, Levis might need a season in the USFL or something to get.
Well, that's the thing. I think the Colts would be fine with starting Gardner Minshew for a couple games so Will Levis can get – because he has some decision-making problems. Like there was a couple head-scratching plays that he made at Kentucky where you're like, maybe he's not all the way there yet. But the tools are all there. He has a great arm. He's a great size. He's athletic. He makes a lot of pinpoint throws, but then he'll make a lot of bad throws. So he needs to get more consistent.
I sort of wish we still had the old World Football League where you had players under an NFL contract assigned to World Football League teams. And so you'd be watching this Barcelona Dragons game and they'd have their NFL logo sticker on the back of their helmet.
Yeah.
It's like, now it's like, oh, you just didn't make the league, so you're going to play in the XFL, the USFL, whatever.
Here, hold on. I got to get ready for this pick. Give me a second.
I think this is going to be.
There we go. Much better. Okay. NFL Draft Room seems to think that it will be Anthony Richardson.
It is Anthony Richardson.
Oh, man. Here we go.
It's Anthony Richardson, the quarterback out of Florida.
You already saw it?
Yeah, I think you might be a little bit delayed from me.
Okay. So it is Anthony Richardson.
I have Anthony Richardson, quarterback out of Florida, to the Colts, and Seattle's now on the clock.
Yep. Okay. So you're going to be calling out the picks here because you're a little bit ahead of me. So the Colts do select Anthony Richardson. I'm not mad at it. Like I said, I don't think he really plays that much this year. I think he has a lot of tools that he has to fine tool. He has to get ready for the league. He has to become more accurate. But he might have the highest ceiling in this draft. He really might. He is. Let me see this. Because he had one of the craziest combines that a quarterback has had in a very long time.
This is one that gets interesting for me now is
Seattle.
The pick, the fifth pick here with Seattle, because how do you make a team that went 9-8 that finished second in the NFC West, where you've got a pretty good offense in play? You mentioned it earlier. You've got Geno, who, he's in his 30s, but seems to be humming along. How do you make it better?
I mean, I think that they go defense here. I really do. They could do a couple different ways. They could get a Will Levis to stash in that Jordan Love type sense where they can bring him on 2 years whenever he's ready. They could go for a wide receiver to help out with Geno Smith. I think they go defense here, either the corner Witherspoon or Jalen Carter. That would make the most sense. Because Jay was talking to me a little bit. He said that Jalen Carter doesn't fall past 5. I tend to agree with him, but I'm not totally sure. I think Devin Witherspoon is a solid pick, and if you do that, Seattle has now 3 great young corners for a long time. And then you got Tyree Wilson as well, who's a great edge rusher with fantastic tools, who maybe isn't the most complete prospect, but he certainly adds another dimension. The best edge rusher now that Will Anderson is gone. Let's talk about Anthony Richardson, though. Okay, so I'm kind of feeling that. Definitely more happy about Anthony Richardson than Will Levis would have made me. I got to tell you, I don't think Richardson starts this year. There's no way he starts. The
Yeah.
Colts
So then, are you going with Nick Foles or are you going with Mustache Minshew?
I think you have to go with Minshew. Give me the jean shorts. Give me the mustache. Let me get all that. Play him for the first 8 games. We go 3-5, 2-6, whatever we got to do, and then Oh, Jay is here. Jay, what's going on, man? I'm gonna give you a second if you want to throw your camera on. If not, I'll bring you in a second. But yeah, Minshew has to start, and he might not even be able to get. They might keep Minshew until he's hurt. Richardson might not play at all this season, and I'd be all right with that because I think that we do have the quarterback of the future. He is the biggest boom or bust potential in the draft this year, though. I will say that. There is no one that can even come close to it because this is the type of player. This is I have Josh Allen as my comp, but another comp that people could say is Jamarcus Russell. He has that size and athleticism ability with the big arm. I'm not sure. Jay, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. I've had a pretty interesting past 20 minutes. I noticed, the Texans are playing a little bit of Madden franchise mode right now.
Yeah, they are.
My cousin's a Cardinals fan. He's not too happy with the trade. But I mean, I've liked everything going on so far. I'm 3 for 4 on my predictions. I didn't expect Anthony Richardson to go this high. You were talking about your comparisons to him. I compared him to Cam Newton. I kind of see it.
That's a good one.
Yeah, not too good at the whole comparison thing, but I think I did pretty good with that one. But yeah, I think that all 4 have been really good selections. I've been a big fan of Bryce Young. I love Bryce Young. My friend actually went to high school with him, and he's a spectacular player. And even the CJ Stroud selection, I mean, that was my lock for number 2. It's been my lock for the past year. That was a really good pick. Will Anderson, obviously the best player in the entire draft class, going number 3 overall. Extremely good pick. And then obviously Anthony Richardson, kind of a surprise for me. I do think that Gardner Minshew will be starting next year. I think he's definitely the best person in that room to start over Richardson if there is going to be someone. So yeah.
Did you by any chance?
If this pick comes in and it's Devin Weatherspoon, I need to go buy a lottery ticket.
Yeah, you're 4 for 4 already. All right, so I do have the trade details. To move up from number 12 to number 3, the Texans, they did get the number 105 selection, so the second pick in the 4th round. The Texans gave up the number 12 pick, the first round pick, or their second round pick, so the number 2 pick in the second round. They gave up their first rounder and third rounder next year as well. So they gave up 2 firsts, a second, and a third to move up to number 3. I think that Will Anderson is totally worth that. I think we're going to look back in a couple of years, and Will Anderson, I believe, in only a couple of years, if not in 2 years, will be a top 4 edge rusher in the NFL. That is how good this guy is.
That's a money trade right there.
I mean, that's the kind of trade you make when you're, that's a good trade. I think that's the kind of trade you make when you know what you're doing. And I mean, that's probably going to go down as one of the better draft trades in history. I think that there's potential that both teams can do good out of it. But I mean,
Seattle's really taking every second off of the clock here.
I think the Cardinals benefit from that too. They got a bunch of good draft selections. They got another first rounder next year. Let's be honest, the Texans probably won't be, positive this year, so they'll get they'll probably have 2 top 15 picks next year, the Cardinals. And they'll have another second rounder to work with this year, a high second rounder. They now have 2 of the top 3 picks in the second round, the Cardinals. And they get another third rounder. So both teams benefit. Speaking as a team that will be playing the Texans twice a year, CJ Stroud and Will Anderson are going to be tough competition. The Colts had a pretty big problem on their offensive line this year. It was due to injuries. Their offensive line does normally perform better, but going against Will Anderson twice a year is going to be tough. That's going to be pretty tough, I got to say.
I mean, yeah, he's a game wrecker. He's been my pick for defensive rookie of the year for past 2 months now. I was on the fence between him and Jalen Carter. I think if anyone's going to win defensive rookie of the year this year, my prediction is probably Will Anderson. I mean, he's an absolute dog. So going up against him twice a year is going to be real tough. I'm glad the Giants don't have to. Let me tell you that.
Yeah. All right. So the pick is in for the Seahawks, the number 5 selection. I have Tyree Wilson here. Great edge rusher, really shown in the combine. and everybody was talking about him pre-draft today. I know, Jay, you have Jalen Carter, and Matt, you have Devin Witherspoon.
Yep.
All right, so we're all taking defensive players. We all got 3 different players. Should be interesting, but I think we all agree that this will be a defensive pick.
I mean, yeah,
I think the next 2 are going to be.
I mean, yeah, Jalen Carter's an absolute dog, man. I mean, I'm a little biased. I'm a Georgia fan, but you know, Jalen Carter's that guy. I think character issues aside, you have to take him. There's no excuse to pass on him.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
I think if the Seahawks take Devin Witherspoon here, I think Jalen Carter goes in the next pick to the Lions.
Most definitely.
I can't think of the Lions head coach, his name right now. Do you guys? Dan Campbell. He is the most bro frat coach there's ever been in the NFL. He loves building in the trenches. Penei Sewell and Aiden Hutchinson are his number 1 picks his first 2 years. Jalen Carter would fit in so well. Going against Jalen Carter, Aiden Hutchinson, Levi Onwuzurike, Aleem McNeil. Oh, that's a tough D line, especially for the Lions.
So here's the more question then. Who's the more bro coach then? Is it Dan Campbell in Detroit or is it Mike McDaniel in Miami?
That's definitely
Mike McDaniel. I'd take Mike McDaniel, man.
Yeah.
Witherspoon is the selection, Matt. You
Wow. Jeez.
No way, bro.
Good night.
Yep.
I'm out of here. I got to get my lottery ticket.
That messed up my entire thing.
Wow.
I had him going in the next pick. I thought the Lions would get him. The Lions, I now think, will get Christian Gonzalez because I do think they go for a cornerback here after trading Jeff Okudah in the offseason. But Devin Witherspoon, the first cornerback off the board. Now the Seahawks have Tariq Woolen, who was the steal of the draft last year, right? 4th rounder, 6'4", is one of the most freakiest athletes at the corner position. They have Kobe Bryant, who is a great nickel corner for them that they also got late in the draft. And they have Devin Witherspoon, who out of those 3 is the most locked down. Like man coverage, press corner, you can't get him off you. That defensive secondary, with Jamal Adams too, that's pretty scary for the Seahawks. That's a great selection by him.
I mean, with a defense like that, Geno Smith could go back to his New York Jets form, and they'd still probably make a playoff spot. Damn.
Mm-hmm.
This is something really interesting that I just noticed. If this doesn't tell you where the 2 best conferences are in college football, out of the top 5 picks, you have 3 out of the SEC, 2 out of the Big Ten.
And I'm going to tell you what, there's going to be a lot more SEC players drafted in the next couple of picks. So what do we have?
You're going to just see that, I think, across the board in the whole first round. But if that doesn't tell you really what the 2 best conferences are in college football in terms of producing power players, that really says something. And I think ultimately, if you're looking at all of the insanity of conference realignment that's gone on and the playoff format as it continues to expand, if you're Notre Dame, you've got to be starting to seriously think about, do you join the Big Ten? Yeah, the Notre Dame shift from this quasi ACC involvement into actually being a full-fledged member of the Big Ten Conference.
When do they go to the 16-team playoff format? Is that in 2025 or 26?
Yeah, they go to 12, I think, this year, and then to 16.
Okay. That's going to be so exciting. I can't wait for that. All right, so Devin Witherspoon goes number 5 to the Seattle Seahawks. Again, Matt is 5 for 5. Who do you have at 6? The Lions getting? You have Jalen Carter?
I've got Jalen Carter out of Georgia.
It's a good pick. Could go 6 for 6 here.
I'll go Christian Gonzalez with this one since my pick initially got taken. I don't think you can pass up on Gonzalez. What he did at Colorado and what he did at Oregon, I mean, he's a lockdown corner, man. Since his freshman year, he's been a dog.
He's the ultimate combination of a lockdown corner and a guy that goes for picks. He got, 7 picks in the last 2 seasons, 5 of which are pick sixes. And then he tested out insanely at the combine. So one of those freak athletes. My player comp for him is Patrick Peterson. I thought that was pretty similar. He has that decent build. He might come in a little bit more slender than Pat P. I think Gonzalez is 6'1", 190. So he's a bit smaller, but he has that nose for the ball. I think more than Devin Witherspoon. I think Witherspoon's a safer pick. He has a lower floor. Devin Witherspoon will be a starter for like 7-8 years, but ceiling Christian Gonzalez, I think, is higher because of his ability to go after the football. Coming up next, we have the Lions. This Lions pick is this is the Rams pick, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
18 of them. And the Cardinals are back the Cardinals are back.
Oh, the Cardinals traded up. Okay. Is this Jalen Carter?
This is Jalen Carter.
I think it's Jalen Carter that the Cardinals just traded up. Okay. So there goes some of their draft.
The Rams pick goes to the
Cardinals.
Lions to the Cardinals.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jeez.
If Carter doesn't go here, we have ultimate meme potential with Jalen Carter maybe going to the Raiders. Which I absolutely love.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. You think about it, Jalen Carter, it's a more serious issue, I know, but do you guys remember when Laramie Tunsil dropped in the draft a couple years ago because of the gas mask thing? And then he turned out to be an all-pro tackle. He's still, what is he, on the Texans right now, right?
Yeah, the Texans, yeah.
So he's still one of the best tackles, top 10 tackles in the league. That's what we're going to see with Jalen Carter. And whoever drafts him, because he's come out and he's apologized, and everybody says that he is not maybe a better man for it, but he's still a great person who just made a mistake, and everything's over with that, with his legal trouble. So whoever drafts him, at least from this point, they might get the steal of the draft. This guy really could be the number one best player that comes out of this draft. With all the people last year in the Georgia Bulldogs defense that got drafted, right? You had Jordan Davis, linebacker, I can't remember.
Maccabee Dean, Channington Doll.
Kobe Dean. They had a corner that went early too. And all the ones that we have this season.
Yeah.
He was the best player. You got Nolan Smith.
Kelly Ringo.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
He's probably going to fall to the second round there. Remember at the beginning of the process, like way in the beginning, probably towards the Super Bowl.
In my way too early mock draft, he was the number one cornerback, I believe. It was either him or Eli Ricks was my number one cornerback in the way too early mock draft.
Him and Eli Ricks were projected number one and two cornerbacks off the board, like beginning of the
Eli
season.
Ricks fell off, though. He did not have a great season.
He had a horrible season. I just got actually 2 text messages, one from a 49ers fan, one from a Cardinals fan. The 49ers fan says that he has Gonzalez here. Cardinals fan says he's got Carter here.
Yep. I think it has to be. And you know what? For the Cardinals to go from number 3 to number 6, so they're gonna probably keep a number 1 pick or the second rounder that they acquired from the Texans, and to still get possibly the number 1 pick, who they probably would have gotten at number 3 anyway. That's it's a great move by them.
Yeah, they're going to pick second in round 2, so this is a good
second and third.
Yeah, this is a very good move for them.
Really, NFL Draft Room is projecting Paris Johnson goes here. They do need O-line help. Well, they do need O-line help. That is definitely the biggest need of that team.
Over Skoronski, though.
Well, Skoronski.
Well, I have Johnson at 11 over Skoronski at 12.
I think Skoronski's better. I think he will be an all-pro till he retires. Here we go. Here's a selection.
We need some bad luck for the Cardinals right here.
Oh!
Who is it?
Paris Johnson.
No way.
Yeah, there's Paris Johnson.
I'd say my Cardinals' bad luck worked.
Wow.
So I think that's a bad pick.
I mean, I don't think it's a bad pick because they do need offensive line help, right? Paris Johnson, to me, is the best tackle prospect because Skoronski projects more to a guard in the NFL. I think that they need guards, though, as well. So they should have picked Skoronski here for his versatility and his just overall, I think he has better skill. To draft Paris Johnson when, to be honest with you, the Cardinals were at number 12 before this. I think Paris Johnson may have fallen to them at number 12.
Yeah.
But if that was their guy, they went and got him. I think your possible Jalen Carter to the Raiders might come true, man.
This is the greatest meme in the history of football. If this happens, like this is up
Six
there
now, 3 SEC, 3 Big Ten.
Yeah. I mean, are we really surprised? Like, and what's it? 4 now from the top 2 programs in the top program in each of them, with the exception of Georgia. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
is it surprising that Georgia has yet to have somebody picked?
No.
Being national champions.
Well, they didn't have as strong of a team this year than last year. Last year's Georgia team was insane.
Yeah.
But they absolutely destroyed the national championship game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did. But
I mean,
then again, you look next year, Georgia's going to have another 4 players in the first round next year. And not only that, but a lot of their offensive talent this year is not going to get drafted. Like Stetson Bennett isn't going to go until the 3rd, 4th, 5th round. But I would say that, though, if you didn't really know the prospects coming in, yes, I would definitely be surprised if I heard that a Georgia Bulldog was not drafted in top 6 picks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does Stetson Bennett even play in the NFL?
I think he carves himself out a decent career being a backup. He has the intelligence of it. He doesn't really have the arm for it, but I think he could make a good like Chase Daniel type in the NFL, being brought around for a good locker room guy and a good backup who knows the plays and is a good teacher to a team that maybe drafts a quarterback in 5 years from now and Bennett's his backup. I think he starts ever for a season? No, not.
I mean, he's a spot starter. I think where he'd be great is the XFL. I mean, he'd be a Hall of Fame quarterback up there with Adrian McCarron in the XFL. But like, in the NFL, he'll be a spot starter, a backup. Maybe for New England, he'll start like a game or 2 because Bill Belichick somehow makes every quarterback look better than they actually are. Or San Francisco, they always manage to make their quarterbacks look good. He could be a spot starter somewhere. That's about it.
In my mock, I have Bennett going an 85th pick to the Dolphins as a backup for Tua.
Yeah, I like that.
My player comp for Paris Campbell is Andrew Thomas, the first-round selection of the Giants 2 years ago, who had a much better sophomore year than he did in his freshman year. Andrew Thomas came out originally as a run-blocking tackle, and then this year made leaps and bounds in the pass-blocking game. I think it's a pretty solid pick. Ohio State tackle being to a Georgia tackle. Both big bruisers, 6'5", 315. Jay, I know you're a Giants fan. What do you think of the comp?
I like that comp. I wasn't too focused on offensive linemen in the class, so I didn't actually make any comparisons for offensive line. But if I had to make one, it'd probably be Andrew Thomas. Andrew Thomas is, in my opinion, 3rd best offensive tackle in the entire league. I don't know if that's a little low. I think that's where he is right now. Maybe a little high.
I would put him top 5. Top 3 might be a little steep, but you've definitely watched him play more than I did. So
I do, yeah.
I'm going to be totally honest. For offensive linemen, I got at least half of my comps right from the NFL Draft Combine profile. So that is who the NFL Combine projected as his player comp was Andrew Thomas. But I thought it fit pretty well, so I went with it.
I mean, coming from someone who cried on draft night when we drafted Andrew Thomas, I think that, what he did this season has been wonderful. That was really tough for me when we drafted him because I didn't think he was that good. There was Jedrick Wills on the board, and I thought Jedrick Wills was the best guy in the class. So what he's done this past season has really impressed me, and I'm proud of how we drafted, especially with the poor management and coaching staff we had at the time. So
hopefully for you guys, Evan Neal takes the same sophomore jump that Andrew Thomas did, and I think he will. I think you guys are going to have a pretty good offensive line for a couple years here. Speaking of that, while we got a little bit of time before the Raiders jump in, we can get back to prospects in a minute here, but what's going on with Barkley, bro? Is he not signing the franchise tag?
He wants a long-term extension, but running backs really aren't worth that. I picked him, but I don't think he's worth it. I love Saquon. I have my Saquon Barkley jersey right up there next to Odell Beckham.
I got mine over there. He won me my fantasy league 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, whenever he was healthy.
Yeah, I have all my Giants jerseys up here, and then my Eli Manning one way over there, and Brandon Marshall in the bust corner. But besides,
you weren't lying about your draft room, huh?
Yeah, draft room's looking pretty sick. I also have Paul Perkins' glove right here and the Super Bowl rings, so thought that was pretty cool. Yes, sir. But Saquon Barkley, I feel like, especially after we saw the season Wayne Gallman had without him, I feel like we can really have any running back in there and do all right as long as they're able to catch some passes from DJ every now and then and take the heat off of him.
We talked about I made a pick that you didn't seem to love, and I look back on it, and coming from your opinion, I might want to change, but I did put Calais Cansey at the Giants. We don't need him. Do you think that they could go Jahmyr Gibbs if Bijan Robinson is gone, which is expected at the 26th pick? Would you like a Jahmyr Gibbs pick if Barkley doesn't sign?
I think this running back class is so deep that taking Jahmyr Gibbs at 25 doesn't help the team nearly as much as a wide receiver or a defensive back does.
You can get a Tank Bigsby in the 3rd round. You can get a Dwayne McBride in the 3rd round.
Izzy Abanikanda out of Pitt. He is so talented, and I think in the New York Giants system, he can really do well. 1st round, I think that we need to focus on either one of the skill positions, offensive or defensive skill positions, wide receiver, corner, and that's where we're gonna make the big plays. And especially, we don't know if we're bringing back Adoree Jackson. We've made no moves to extend him past his contract. We need a backup plan after him. We've got some decent slot guys backups, but no one else to start beside Adoree. So we take Cam Smith out of South Carolina. I'd be okay with that. We take Zay Flowers out of Boston College, play wide receiver. Ecstatic. One of those guys more so than anyone else on any other position. I love Cansey. I have him going a little higher than what you have.
I noticed that you have him going early. I think he projects that well, but his size is going to scare people. Then again, he is Aaron Donald 2.0 possibly, so yeah, we'll see. The Raiders pick is in. I just got to put this out there. The NFL draft room predicts Christian Gonzalez going to the Raiders, who definitely need a cornerback. I probably agree with that. In my mock draft, I had the Titans trading up in this spot to get Anthony Richardson because I thought the Titans were going to trade up for a quarterback. But I think it's Christian Gonzalez or Jalen Carter.
I had Christian Gonzalez in my mock, but I like Jalen Carter.
Tyree Wilson goes to the Raiders.
That's good. Wow. He's talented.
Listen, pairing up Tyree Wilson with Max Crosby in the edge, that's going to be pretty good for the Raiders. I think that Christian Gonzalez would have been a better position of need, but Tyree Wilson is such a freak edge rusher. That is going to be a good pick, and it's right around where I thought he would have went in the number 7 pick. So I would give that. I'd give that a B+.
I like that.
Can't argue with the pick. I had him at 8 to the Falcons, so he goes one higher than where I had him.
Yeah.
So I'm not really going to argue with that spot. And yeah, you're right. It's solving a need. And that's a big thing. You're getting that pass rusher who's going to be a very hard person to slow down. I think, yeah, you mentioned it, pairing him in that defensive line. It's going to be
alongside Max Crosby.
It's going to be a good line for the Raiders.
So the Falcons are on the clock now. We haven't had any skill positions yet, right? Yeah, I think this will be the first skill position player taken. A lot of people have Bijan Robinson going here. I have Jackson Smith and Jigba going here. I think that the Falcons are on the up and up. I thought they had a great free agency. They got David Onyemata. They got Jesse Bates. They added a lot of stuff on defense. I think here's where you go somewhere on offense. Give your not rookie, but your sophomore starter, Desmond Ridder, who didn't get in really any playing time last season. Get him some more options. You traded away Calvin Ridley in the offseason. You don't have too much to work with besides Kyle Pitts. I think now is where you go and get maybe not Bijan Robinson, because to me you need a good O-line before you draft a running back, and the Their O-line is good, but it's getting old, especially Jake Matthews. Good guards there. Chris Lindstrom's pretty good, but I think you get a wide receiver to give an outside threat to Kyle Pitts. Jackson Smith and Jigba, to me, I know, Jay, you like Zay Flowers more, but I think Smith and Jigba is the guy that will just – Tyree Wilson just threw Roger Goodell over his shoulder. That's funny.
There it is.
Smith and Jigba will literally get you 10 yards, 10 yards, 8 yards, 15 yards. Like, he can do it all. In the 2021 Ohio State Buckeyes wide receiver room, where you had Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, who went in the first round last year, Garrett Wilson won Rookie of the Year, everybody would tell you that Smith and Jigba was the best player on that team. So, last season he didn't get to play because of injury. He tested really well at the combine when people didn't think he would show up. Zay Flowers is more of the big playability. If you're looking for Zay Flowers, you want him to be like almost your Tyreek Hill, go over the top and run past everybody. But Smith and Jigba, to me, I think is a safer pick, unless you want to talk about his injury possibility, which is something you could consider.
I think when it comes to wide receivers, JSN is probably the safest pick. Like you said, he is a very talented wide receiver. Even when they asked the receivers in the room, I remember seeing a video on YouTube, they asked Olave, Wilson, and they asked Marvin Harrison Jr. who the best receiver in the room was. All three of them said JSN. I mean, the guy's talented. I've known this for a year now. I've had him as my top receiver, even though I love Zay Flowers a little too much. He is my favorite player in this entire draft class, and that's saying something considering that, there's a couple other guys that I also am really high on, Izzy Abonaconda, being one of them. I mean, Zay Flowers is the big playability. I believe I compared him to like what Kadarius Toney was supposed to be, or like kind of like a Tavon Austin with his like shiftiness. I think that the way he moves reminds me a lot of the two of them. I mean, he's a fast guy. He's one of the faster guys in the class.
I will throw a monkey wrench. I think you're right with skill player. Don't forget the need at tight end that they have, and you can possibly look at Dalton Kincaid out of Utah as a possible solution. They do need a tight end.
So Kyle Pitts is one of the best tight ends in the league, but I do like you saying that because Kyle Pitts in the NFL, or at least what they've used him, is almost more of a slot guy because he doesn't really have the blocking ability. He does have a little bit, but he's definitely he's more of a receiver. And so is Dalton Kincaid in my ability. But Dalton Kincaid, everybody's been saying that he has the best pass catching ability of anybody in this draft, tight end or receiver. And I think that might be true. I think what you get with Kincaid is a little bit of just a not as athletic Kyle Pitts, though, because Kincaid doesn't have the blocking ability. But if you do that and you shift Pitts into the slot, permanently, or you could run double tights, especially with a guy like Desmond Ridder who likes to run out of the pocket and go to his safety nets, that would be a really good move for them. Dalton Kincaid. To me, it's a little bit too high to draft Kincaid. I have him more in like the 15 to 20 range, but I like that for a shout. What'd you call it, a monkey wrench?
Yeah. I mean, I'm also thinking of like, you got to think of the Raiders under a Josh McDaniels offense and what worked so well for Josh McDaniels.
This is the Falcons, not the Raiders anymore. But I do know what you're saying. The Raiders, yeah. Josh McDaniels when they had the two tight ends with Rob Gronkowski and Hernandez.
Right, exactly. But you're looking at a I'm trying to think of who the Falcons offensive coach is. Their OC now.
They have Arthur Smith as a head coach, who is an offensive coach, who is the Titans head coach at the time, back when Austin Hooper was going off.
Right, and I'm trying to think of who the Falcons offensive coordinator is right now.
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. The pick is in for the Falcons.
Avery Gone.
So, NFL draft room is projecting Jalen Carter here, just so we know. Would be a good fit. Put Jalen Carter with Grady Jarrett. Those two feast. If Jalen Carter drops to 10 and goes to the Eagles, I'm going to flip the heck out.
No, I'm leaving the call if that happens. I can't be assaulted by Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis twice a year, every year for the next 10 years. That's not going to happen. Like, I'm
And
not
they
going
still
to.
have Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham. That you're stacking pieces at that point.
I'm gonna fly out to Philadelphia and buy the team and just trade them all away at that point. I can't allow that.
You can gladly buy the Eagles. I hate Jeffrey Lurie. I'm not even an Eagles fan. I just don't like him.
Jordan, I mean, a lot of people have said that the Bears won't pass up on Jalen Carter, and I hope not. Well, let's see, because the Falcons could take him here, but that would be a scary sight.
I don't think they will. What do we think about Christian Gonzalez here?
He could drop.
Terrell?
I have Christian Gonzalez at like 9 to the Bears.
I had him going to Vegas.
Well, we're at 9. We're at 9's going to be what?
Bijan Robinson goes to the Falcons.
Way. And the Eagles just traded for the 9 spot with the Bears.
They just traded up to the 9. Oh my God! They're going to get Jalen Carter.
I'm bringing out the Josh Rosen jersey. We need bad luck.
The Eagles just flipped the 9 spot and the 10 spot with the Bears.
Oh my God!
So the Eagles are on the clock here at 9. The Bears will pick at 10.
So before we get into that, because I'm gonna be pissed. Before we get into that, Bijan Robinson, in my opinion, he is more complete, I think, than Saquon was coming out. Saquon had a bigger upside, and he was much more shifty, better pass game. But Bijan Robinson, you have comps to LaDainian Tomlinson. I compared him to Jonathan Taylor. I think that he will be. I might take him in like the 3rd round of my fantasy draft this year. I'm not lying.
Hang on, this is crazy. Okay, so the Eagles are now on the clock here at 9. The Bears are going to select at 10. You've got the Tennessee Titans at 11. The Detroit Lions are now going to have a pick at 12.
The Lions just picked. All right, so who did the Cardinals trade back with? Because the 6th pick. Oh, yeah, the Lions traded back from 6 to 12. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're now going to have – so the Lions they were going to select at 6. That was the trade with the Cardinals. The Lions are now at 12, which was originally a Houston Texans pick from Cleveland.
Yep.
And now you've got the flip-flop of the 9 and 10 with the Eagles and Bears.
So the Eagles go up to 9. This has to be Jalen Carter, right?
No,
I don't see how it's not.
So, oh man, they could. Okay, if it's not Jalen Carter, it could be Peter Skoronski. They do need O-line help, and I know the Bears are interested in Skoronski because they need O-line help. But I think Jalen Carter's been linked with them for so long here, and the Eagles go up. Listen, they got to taste the Super Bowl. They want to get back. They got to just add more pieces. They could go with any of the top guys, though. Jalen Carter, Christian Gonzalez would also be a good fit with Darius Slay, probably going to retire in the next couple of years. I don't think it'll be Gonzalez, but it could be. Skoronski or Carter have to be the picks here. I wouldn't even really be surprised if we saw a Brian Branch go here, too, because they need safety help. I'm higher on Brian Branch than a lot of other people, though. To me, he's the best nickel/safety in the draft. You can move him anywhere. He's like Isaiah Simmons a couple years ago.
I'm hoping
I have Branch at 20 to the Seahawks. So you are higher on Brian Branch than I am.
Yeah, I have him 14th on my big board. I had the Commanders draft him at 16. But the Eagles, man, Jesus. 2 years in a row, are they going to draft 2 Georgia Bulldog defensive tackles? Building the trenches is the Howie Roseman way.
It has been, and it's worked.
Yeah, hell yeah, it's worked.
I mean, honestly, I got
maybe Barkley's smart not to come back this season. I wouldn't want to face the Eagles defense either.
Oh, yeah, no. I honestly, I'm kind of feeling like a Stetson Bennett pick right here. I think he's a real great fit for the Eagles. They need a backup quarterback. Why not take him in the 1st round? He's just built different. I think he really embodies the Josh Rosen way of get drafted really high and suck. and make your team look bad. So I think that the jersey is really going to help out here.
You want to talk about
Stetson Bennett to the Green Bay Packers so he can carry Jordan Love's clipboard.
I would love that. That would make me so happy.
I want to throw out two other names. I want to throw out two other names that have been linked with the Eagles throughout this process. Nolan Smith was talked about a lot to them as an edge rusher. They don't go defensive line. Edge rush could be a good way. Also, what do you think about Zay Flowers possibly going here? I know that they got A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, but Zay Flowers would add another
receivers.
Nope.
I mean, when you have an offense that's so explosive with Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders, and you have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith,
Miles Sanders is in
Dallas
Carolina.
Goedert. What?
Miles Sanders is in Carolina.
Yeah.
Oh,
running back.
Kenneth Gainwell. Sorry, forgot Miles
Kenneth
Sanders.
Gainwell and Rashad Penny.
Yep. Man.
Jalen Carter.
I think it has to be Jalen. I think it has to be. Oh my god. Oh my god, dude. This is crazy. I gotta text my friend who's an Eagles fan.
I don't like this.
If it's not, how far does Jalen Carter possibly fall?
If it's not, I think the Bears get him at 10. I think Jalen Carter goes in the next. You have Philly, then Chicago, then Tennessee. Tennessee's not going to draft one. And then the Lions. He doesn't go past 12 in the Lions. But he'll either go here or the Bears, I believe.
It's kind of funny because I had Jalen Carter at 6 to the Lions. So if he ends up in the Lions,
you're right.
That works.
Everyone's laughing now till Jalen Carter falls to 25 and we take him. That's the only player I'd be acceptable with taking over a wide receiver corner.
Someone will trade up before 25 to draft Jalen Carter.
We'll trade up. We'll trade Saquon Barkley, and
here we go.
Bill Belichick's dog. Jalen Carter. Jeez.
Oh my god.
Nope. I'm gone. Nope. This is horrible. This is the worst case scenario, Zach.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Can the Eagles handle Jalen Carter?
I think so, man. I really do. I don't think he's going to be a problem. And I think he's going to go into a culture in the Eagles where they're just all about winning, and he's going to thrive there, especially being alongside Jordan Davis, his longtime teammate at Georgia.
Yeah, does the Eagles, Howie Roseman, Nick Sirianni culture just basically settle him?
Just give them the ring already. Don't just call off the season, give the Eagles the ring.
I want to know what the Eagles traded up with for the Bears, because the Bears could have had they traded away the number 1 pick, and at number 9 could have had the number 1 prospect anyway, but they trade down to get what?
I hope they traded like Jalen Hurts for it. That way they don't have a quarterback anymore.
They traded number 10 in the 2024 4th round pick for the number 9 overall.
Chicago just sold. Chicago just ruined the season. I have a newfound hatred for the Bears. That's what I'm learning here.
All right, with the Bears, I think this has to be Peter Skoronski.
No doubt.
How far will Christian Gonzalez drop now? All right, so here's the thing.
Are the Bears tanking to get a new stadium?
Maybe. All right, so the Titans will pick at number 11. The Titans have said that they want to get Tannehill off the books, and it came out a week ago that they are reportedly done with Malik Willis. Will Levis go at number 11 to the Tennessee Titans?
No. I'd rather have Malik Willis over Will Levis, but that's just me.
If that happens, then the AFC South will have 4 new rookie quarterbacks in 2 years, with Trevor Lawrence going to the Jags last year.
Will Levis in Nashville would be
Last year or 2 years ago?
kind of funny.
2 years ago.
It was 2 years ago. Okay. How am I blanking out? Who was the number 1 pick last year?
Last year was whatchamacallit? Trayvon
How am I
Walker.
blanking?
Trayvon Walker out of Georgia.
Yeah. That's right, because the Jags had 2 picks.
He was kind of mid this year. He's good, but
They picked Trayvon Walker over Aiden Hutchinson, which I still think was so dumb. He has a higher upside, I guess, and shit, the Jags made a leap this year. Oh, man, the AFC South is getting edge rushers. I don't like this.
AFC South is the new NFC West.
No, we got a couple
So
years.
somebody's
before
going to
that,
go
man.
8. So somebody's going to go 8-9 and make the playoffs.
Yep.
Nah, dude, listen. Before the season starts, I always put like 5 different unit parlays, unit picks on who's going to win the Super Bowl. I'm absolutely taking the Jaguars this year. I really think the Jags could make that leap into elite status.
That's a pick and a half right there.
Dude,
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence is a great quarterback. They just got Calvin Ridley to add with Christian Kirk, Travis Etienne. That's a good fucking. They have Evan Ingram. I like, and they're in a division that's not that good, so it could be 6 easy wins for them.
Yeah.
I also, hot take of the day, and I think I've said this to you before, Matt. I'm not a believer in the Bengals. I think the Bengals are the biggest frauds in the NFL. I really do. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are elite, but besides that, their defense is washed. So I don't think they'll stay in the picture for a while. You got the Chiefs and the Bills. I think the Jaguars could be up there with them. I really do.
Hall
Or
of
I'm
Fame
an idiot. And I'm a Colts fan, so I probably am. So
The Bills, you want to talk about frauds? The Bills are the best regular season team.
the Bills will be the new Dallas Cowboys for the next 10, 15 years.
The Bills are the best regular season team. They just can't do anything after the regular season ends.
They're like the Nuggets in the NBA. They get the number 1 seed every year, and then they lose in the second round.
Yeah,
Can we talk about how much better the AFC is than the NFC now?
Yeah. I feel like it doesn't matter.
If you think about it, the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFC, right? You got Jalen Hurts, who probably will be elite for a while. Bordering on, like, he needs to still learn how to throw.
Yeah.
He'll go as far as the Eagles roster takes. You got Dak Prescott, who people may not be the highest on, but he just gets it done every year. And the number 3 quarterback, as voted by NFL GMs in a poll that came out a couple days ago. Does anyone want to guess who the number 3 best quarterback in the NFC is?
Daniel Jones.
No.
Damn it.
No. Daniel Jones is like 10.
Kyler Murray.
Number 3 best quarterback in the NFC, as voted by NFL GMs, is Kirk Cousins.
you know what? Here's the thing.
Who's also a regular season quarterback.
Yeah, and right, and that's the thing is, say what you want to say about Kirk Cousins, but when it comes to that needing a game situation, he's got it done.
If it's not on prime time.
And not against Giants.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as long as it's not Sunday night or Monday Night Football, you're good.
All right, here we go. Bears selection's in.
Peter
Should we
Skorupski.
Darnell Wright, Tennessee. What?
No.
Darnell Wright. Okay, so the mauler of the tackle class. Again, I knew that they would go offensive line. Darnell Wright's possibly a reach, but again, this is where this might be the first head scratcher.
So you're telling me that Broderick Jones, Peter Skorupski, Osiris Torrance, and God knows who else are on the board, and you take Darnell Wright?
Who's the other one? Who's the other
3
tackle?
to the Vikings.
DeJuan Jones too.
Bro.
I mean, you had
Chicago's your least favorite team.
You had
I would
you had
give this
Broderick
pick.
Jones. You had, I mean, yeah, I had both of them over Darnell Wright.
Listen, Darnell Wright's not a bad player at all. He's a mauler. He is a run blocking tackle, which is what you want with Justin Fields, I guess. But it's definitely a reach. I have him as my tackle 4 or 5. I think it might be 5. Even though he was like my number 26 prospect, I'm going to have to give this a C, maybe a C minus.
Okay, though, here comes the question. Are we looking at this simply because we know Darnell Wright as a tackle versus the possibility that the Bears might not be thinking about, because of his balance and his ability to move players, are they going to convert him and kick him inside to guard?
Well, here's my answer to that. If that is the case, I think that he might project better in the NFL as a guard. I think Skoronski is way better as a guard, but he's not as big, and maybe they wanted a mauler. Will Levis is shaking hands with someone, and the Titans pick is in at 11 right now. Just saying.
Oh my God, they just drafted.
But I think, listen, like they could have had so much better picks. And if that's the case that they're going to make him a guard, to pick a guard in the top 10 picks when he's not a Quentin Nelson, Zach Martin type offensive lineman is a reach to me. But they went after their guy. You know, that's some teams do that. The Patriots did it with Cole Strange. That worked out. The Raiders did it 2 years ago with Alex Leatherwood, and that did not work out. So, you know, time will tell with all these picks, but right now I would say that's a reach.
I mean, I see
Especially when you had the number 1 pick and then the number 9 pick, you could have had Jalen Carter, and instead you get Darnell Wright. You know what? I'm going to give it a C-.
I mean, I see the DJ Fluker comparison. Once again, as a Giants fan, I have some DJ Fluker experience.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't. I don't like that pick at all. I just think it's horrible. My grandmother, who doesn't speak English, like not a lick of English, and doesn't know anything about football, could have drafted better than the Chicago Bears here. I think it's a horrible pick. With the talent on the board, and yes, they could be going for a mauler. Yes, they could kick him into guard. With the guys on the board, you can get that.
Skoronski.
Yeah, go with Skoronski. It makes no sense. Like I don't understand that.
Well, it was the
right.
Bears drafting, so we can't blame Belichick's dog.
So we got the Titans coming up next. I believe this will be Will Levis.
Oh, yeah.
If it's not Will Levis, I can see them getting Christian Gonzalez. They do need a cornerback. The Titans are ecstatic right now in the war room. Matt Vrabel shaking everybody's hand.
Well, if it is Will Levis, you won't have to worry about the Titans being good for the next 4 years.
I'm real good with that. I was worried about number 4 pick being Will Levis, being really pissed, and now probably our biggest rival is getting Will Levis, who I would rather Malik Willis than Will Levis. I'm going to be completely honest.
Will Levis is a bum. He's the biggest fraud of the entire draft process.
Well, I mean,
he's one of those guys. He needs a year to progress. He is athletic. Like, he's a big dude. He has a similar mold as Anthony Richardson, except he's not as big. And Levis is a little bit more accurate to Richardson's better arm, I think. He can throw it farther. But Will Levis also, he played in the SEC, but he didn't play against the Alabamas and the Auburns of the SEC. So I don't think Will Levis plays this year. And if he does, I think that I hope he does, so that the Titans are picking in the top 5 for the next couple of years.
I feel like every year there's also one player that comes out of the draft that we clearly doubt because of how they played in college, that all of a sudden then turns into something else. And maybe Will Levis just is that player. Maybe Kentucky was not the right system truly for him, but he had nowhere really else to play, so he played there.
Where did he go before Kentucky? Because he just transferred to Kentucky. He was at, I can't remember. Shit.
I'll look it up right now.
I know that he went against a team. He was on a team that he didn't beat out the starter, and it wasn't a great starter.
Penn State.
Penn State.
Yeah, Penn State. Yeah.
So he couldn't beat out the starter there. Went to Kentucky, had a better year. Projected as all this. He's like, to me. And again, you totally might be right, Matt. He might be the guy that we doubt, and then comes out and shows everybody that they were wrong. But to me, he's like he got there because he looks like he could be a starting quarterback. Like, he has the look about him. He's 6'4", 230 pounds. He has a decent arm. He passes the physical requirements, but he made way too many mistakes in Kentucky to me. So give him a year. Don't start him. The NFL Draft Room predicts this pick is Zay Flowers, by the way, which I think would be a great pick for them. Zay Flowers is not making it to 26, man. I'm sorry. You're not getting Zay.
No, we're
I know
speaking
you
about-
don't want anyone to draft him.
Nah, but like following what you said with Levis, I feel like it's definitely not the system. Like the system at Kentucky's horrible. We know this. They're not like a good team when it comes to their system, but it comes down to his decision making. I mean, I have never watched a quarterback in college football and said WTF so many times in my entire life. The things that he does baffle me because his decision making is horrible. I plain and simple, when he's like I rarely see him move deep into his progressions. It's usually one read, maybe two.
Yep.
And he'll always force to his receiver one, who isn't really that great anymore now that he doesn't have Wan'Dale Robinson, future Giants Hall of Famer. But like, you know, I don't think that what they had there was beneficial for him either. So it's a little bit of both.
Here we go. The Titans pick is in. Roger Goodell walking up.
Skoronski.
Is it
Peter Skoronski?
Peter Skoronski, Northwestern.
I am okay with that.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick for them. They just got rid of who is homie that's a TikTok star on the Titans O-line that he has the mustache that just got dropped by him.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Played for Michigan.
Yeah, I can't think of him. That's a great pick for the Titans. Peter Skoronski, in my opinion,
Taylor Lewan
will be Taylor Wan. Yes, thank you. He will be an all-pro type lineman for the next 10 to 12 years. I really do believe that. And
yeah, that puts him up one higher on the board than I had him. I had him at 12. With the trades, I see that kind of being what occurred there. The Lions are on the clock, and this gets interesting now.
So
Christian Gonzalez.
yeah, I think I hope it's Christian Gonzalez.
He's fallen from where I had him, so I really think,
He has him and Will Levis has the biggest drop so far. And to me, I think Gonzalez deserves to go higher than Levis. So Gonzalez so far is the biggest dropper, maybe besides Jalen Carter, but we all expected him to drop. To go to Peter Skoronski real quick, one of my favorite comps that I came up with is Peter Skoronski to Brandon Scherf. Brandon Scherf, the tackle at Iowa that got moved in on the Jaguars and now has had a successful career on the Jaguars and the Commanders, used to be the Redskins. I think that is exactly where Skoronski's going to be. This is going to be a guy that starts 16, 17 games every single year. He's great pass blocking because he used to be a tackle. He's really good on the run as well. It doesn't help or it doesn't hurt you to be an offensive lineman, have Derrick Henry going behind you, by the way. So I think it's just interesting now that I really thought the Titans would get a quarterback. I had them trading up for one. It came out that they don't want Malik Willis, and now I guess they're going to be rocking with him. And if you have a quarterback like Malik Willis who wants to run and get out of the pocket, you have Derrick Henry who's going to need help blocking. I think that offensive lineman probably was their best bet. This is, to me, this might be an A of a pick. A minus maybe.
I mean, this is a great pick. I could definitely see an A plus if anything.
Yeah. I have him as the number 10 pick. They got him at number 11. And I had Peter Skoronski a lot higher until his combine when it came out, how short his arms are. And that's the only knack you have against this guy. He was the best tackle all year, but when it came to the combine, he only had like 32.25-inch arms, which I want to say the average arm length of a tackle in the NFL is 34.5 inches. So he is undersized in the arms, but he's not undersized like he's what? Skoronski's 6'4", 315, so he's not like an undersized lineman by any means.
Wow. Jamar Gibbs, the running back from Alabama, goes to the Lions.
They have David Montgomery.
I did not even have him in round 1.
They have David Montgomery, and they have
DeAndre Swift, Georgia legend.
I did not even have him in round 1.
I had him a second-round pick.
I have him. He's like my 30th overall.
Wow.
That's a Dan Campbell pick. He wants to, and they just went out and signed David Montgomery to what, 3-year, 24 mil? Like,
yeah,
a pretty decent contract.
Dan Campbell makes my head hurt.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all. And then they watch. They're gonna draft like Tucker Kraft at 18.
Yeah.
Like they'll get a tight end, just not the right one. They'll get the guy who's projected like mid-second round.
Where do I have Jahmyr
That is a
Gibbs?
Dan
Oh, okay.
Campbell
I have him
bet.
here. So here's my comp for Jahmyr Gibbs is Tony Pollard. He's a little bit of an undecided running back that can do it all. He's pretty quick out of the backfield. My upside for Jahmyr Gibbs is Najee Harris, though. Easy comparison. He's Najee Harris was the running back before Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't think he's that physical, and he's definitely a little undersized for Najee Harris. But I think Tony Pollard obviously he had a statement year with the Cowboys this year. That's the type of player that you have. I just don't know why you would do it when you have two very serviceable running backs. I know that Swift got hurt last year. At this rate with the NFL's looking, you don't want a running back over 25 because 26-year-old running backs basically should be like 40 years old. I don't necessarily agree with that assessment, but it is what it is. This is another like C pick for me just because it's not a position of need. If they think that that's their home run pick, I thought they could have gotten so many other picks of need here, and they could have waited. Like they easily could have got Gibbs at 18. To your point, by the way. So I don't know what they're doing here, but Dan Campbell wanted his guy, and I don't think anyone in that war room is going to tell Dan Campbell that he's wrong.
Yeah,
testosterone built man in that whole building.
Back to the Houston, Arizona situation. This is kind of insane, and this is what makes me wish Nick Caserio was still with the Patriots. This is what he pulled off. Basically, Houston gets back-to-back going C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson.
Don't remind me.
Arizona ends up with the number 12 and number 33 picks this year, along with the first and third next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great pick. We were saying it's going to be one of the great drafting trades.
And the Texans sort of offload a little of this like abundance of draft picks that they have over the next 2 years into potentially diamond players.
Yeah.
They're Oklahoma City thundering right now. They just have picks, like they're just going to throw them around.
Yeah, they really are.
Yeah, and this is why I wish Nick Caserio was still with the Patriots.
Oh, I bet, yeah. What are we thinking for Green Bay? I'm thinking either Tyson.
Right now?
Yeah, they are. I'm thinking either Tyson Badgett out of Shepherd, Parker Washington out of Penn State, or Dalton Kincaid, because they will not draft the right wide receiver if they draft a wide receiver.
I don't think they – wouldn't it be so hilarious if they draft a receiver now? The Aaron Rodgers is gone. Oh, my God. Everybody's been saying this is going to be Kincaid, though. I have them taking Paris Johnson because they need O-line help. I can see them drafting Kincaid. That might be my player.
I'm going to go a little different than you guys. Lucas Van Ness out of Iowa.
He was projected them early. That's a good pick for them as well. And they love to draft D linemen. To pair Lucas Van Ness with Rashawn Gary and was it Frank Clark in the middle? No, Frank Clark. Kenny Clark. Kenny Clark in the middle. That's a scary D line. And that's a Packers pick. That's such a Packers pick, Luke Van Ness.
Especially with how bad Devontae Wyatt did, like to be able to replace him with a guy like Van Ness is really nice.
Who did they get in they got was it DeAndre Walker in the first round last year? They got
no, it was they got Devontae Wyatt and Quay Walker.
Quay Walker, that was who I was thinking of. So they're a defensive drafting first team.
Yeah.
Listen, Jordan Love is not Aaron Rodgers. The only reason they didn't get a receiver in the first round for the last 15 years is because they had Favre and Rodgers, and they could make star wide receivers.
Yeah.
They have their pick of receivers, though. They have Flowers or Smith and Jigba. Do it. Please draft a receiver.
I hope wherever Aaron Rodgers is, there's a camera on him right now for when they draft Jackson Smith and Jigba here.
Wouldn't it be? What if the Packers pass on a receiver and the Jets draft one?
The Jets are at 15, so yeah, and I actually have Jackson Smith and Jigba for the Jets at 15. So
the Packers, they need a safety. They could get Brian Branch here. That would be a Packer pick too.
Yeah.
Darnell Savage and Jair Alexander with Brian Branch. That'd be a really good fucking secondary.
Bro.
That's a secondary I don't want to go up against.
The Packers could go O-line here too. There's a couple tackles that could get drafted, and David Bakhtiari is not getting any younger. Traded Brian Bulaga in the last couple of years, TJ Lang. They could go for anything here. Dalton Kincaid is the NFL Draft Room's prediction. I think that's where they go.
Right. It has to be. I
mean, that's a great pick.
Yeah. Dalton Kincaid's a dog. I mean, watched him at Utah, especially what he was able to do with that team. I mean, he was the primary target, no doubt. He was very good.
Utah's what, Pac-12?
Pac-12, yes.
Well, back to go.
All right, Parker Washington out of Penn State.
Yeah, I'm back in it.
No way.
It's a great pick.
Matt, you're a pick.
After a few of my picks going off the rail.
Yeah, I got to say, Matt, you are on point with your mock draft and predictions so far.
So now we go to the Patriots at 14. I have the tackle from Georgia, Broderick Jones.
I like that pick.
I do too. Don't be shocked if this is a receiver, or think about this with Bill Belichick, the cornerback master, to get Christian Gonzalez at pick 14 would be a huge get for the Patriots.
I would be happy. I'd be happy with that. I just don't want another who the heck is that type pick.
I think
it worked for him last year. I think that with the amount of talent that you have on the board right now, though, there's a couple people. What if they – okay, hear me out with my crazy spiraling ideas. With all the Mac Jones drama that happened this offseason, him going to Alabama, Belichick wasn't happy about that. They shopped around Mac Jones. What if this is Will Levis?
Oh, my God.
What if Will Levis goes to the Patriots?
If Will Levis goes to the Patriots, I will burn every single Patriots jersey and T-shirt in this house.
Cap. Not doing that.
This is a tough pick. I don't think it's going to be wide receiver just because Bill Belichick does not have a great relationship with wide receivers. Why does Lucas Van Ness look like a Walmart version of Cooper Kupp? I've never seen
that button up he had was kind of swaggy.
No, that's a meme. Now that's a meme.
Pittsburgh Steelers trade up. Pittsburgh Steelers now have the 14th pick, traded with the Patriots.
Wow. They're getting Will Levis.
This is nothing.
No. I think they're getting
Christian Gonzalez. They need defensive back.
Yeah, they do need
Imagine
corners.
him and Pat Pete with his comparison.
So wait, so the Patriots will now not draft in the first round.
No, the
Steelers have the 17th pick. They might have just traded back.
The Steelers are still holding the 17th pick currently.
On my team, it says New England has it. On my team,
okay.
Yeah.
So they've just not fixed this completely yet.
Yeah. I hope it's Christian Gonzalez. I like the Steelers. They're probably my favorite AFC North team. If I had to pick one.
I'm still showing the Steelers with the 17. So, okay.
Imagine if Belichick.
Oh, now they fixed it. Yep. Here we go.
You're right. With Patrick Peterson, that'd be a pretty good comp.
I think they'd be a good duo too. I think he's got a lot to learn from Pat Pete. I mean, he's one of the best corners of my generation. One of the best players I've ever been able to see in that position that I remember. I remember that 2015 Cardinals team. He was insane.
Mm-hmm.
And he still has it. Like last season with Minnesota, he had a pretty good year for being 85.
Who's this woman reporter that's sitting at the draft room desk right now?
I cannot.
It's not Rachel. I can't think of her last name. That was on the draft room analysis coming all the way up.
What are you watching?
Yeah, what do you want?
I'm watching NFL Draft Room. It's like off the NFL app. I'm not watching the ABC broadcast.
It's on the NFL app.
Yeah. You guys are watching? Yeah, we're probably watching different broadcasts.
Yeah, I'm on NFL Network.
So the Steelers go up from 17 to 14.
Has to be DB. Unless they go offensive line. Is that in play? I forget if they need offensive line.
They always need offensive line. They specifically need tackle. So this could be Broderick Jones as well, honestly.
CG or BJ. Those are my two predictions here. What are we thinking about BJ Ojolari?
Wait, Cynthia Freeland.
Cynthia Freeland. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Listen, don't
Yeah.
count out Joey Porter Jr. either. Been mocked to them so many times. He's a legacy pick for them. I know it's picking Porter Jr. over Gonzalez, but
I could never go. I mean, it's not my pick. Mike Tomlin can do what Mike Tomlin wants, I guess.
Mike Tomlin has what? The Steelers haven't been under 500 in like 18 years or something crazy.
16, yeah. I think actually longer than that, but since Mike Tomlin's there, they've never been under 500.
Yeah. He's the only active coach that can say that, I believe.
Yeah, Bill Belichick lost that title as well. Actually, they were over 500 the year they missed the playoffs when Brady was injured, right?
No, they went 8-9 this year, didn't they? I think they've gone 8-9 twice now.
They went 8-9 this year.
They might have gone 9-8 last year. NFL drafter and predicts Broderick Jones.
I like that. Him or Gonzalez.
I would too. And hell, we'd still get the picks right in our mocks.
Oh, it's Pat. You know who's really cool? Pat Fryermuth. I got to meet him at a Providence College game. He is such a cool guy.
Yeah.
Especially, I was wearing my Joe Flacco jersey at the time. He was really chill, even though I was wearing a Ravens jersey.
I liked Fred. He came out of Iowa?
Penn State.
Penn State. Oh, yeah, he was the Mike Gesicki rebuild. Yep.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco went to knock off Michigan. Go find Joe Flacco in a University of Delaware uniform or knock off Michigan.
Broderick Jones is the selection. Yep.
It is Broderick Jones.
I'm okay with that. Christian Gonzalez is still falling.
14.
Christian Gonzalez still
life
falling.
right now for this Jets pick.
Broderick Jones player comp I had was Taylor Moton for the Carolina Panthers. Again, another guy that can play tackle or guard, big mauler.
Yeah.
I think that's pairing him up with Dave DeCastro and the other guard that they have. Steelers have always been a drag out, beat the hell out of the guy in front of you type of team. They need Najee Harris to get more back in the game than he did last year. It's a good pick. It's a good pick. Also, you're defending Kenny Pickett. I like it.
Yeah.
And I think that the Patriots would have drafted Jones if they kept the pick, so it's smart of the Steelers to move up. I'm going to give that pick a B. Maybe a B plus.
I just watched Broderick Jones body slam the crap out of somebody. Oh, my God.
Oh, he's vicious. He has that if Darnell Wright's a mauler because of his strength, Broderick Jones a mauler because of his mentality, which might even be more important for offensive linemen, honestly.
Yeah. 6'5", 311 is wild.
The New Yorks are on the clock.
Oh, no. My friends at MetLife for this pick. They have a whole bit like the Jets got MetLife over the Giants for this, which is absurd.
What do the Jets need? I have the Jets drafting Darnell Wright in my mock, so they could go tackle. Mekhi Becton might be out again this season. He's been injury prone his whole career. The best tackle on the board right now is probably DeJuan Jones. You have Anton Harrison a little bit farther down.
Yeah.
I have Jackson Smith and Jiba because Aaron Rodgers needs a receiver.
The Jets are kind of loaded at receiver, though. They just signed Alan Lazard. They have Garrett Wilson.
I just want to see somebody understand how to stroke Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
So that he doesn't go into another darkness retreat and actually plays the season.
Honestly, could this be Dalton Kincaid? Who's the Jets tight end?
I think Mercedes Lewis and
get him Kincaid.
Some no name from D3 Michigan.
Oh, it was I drafted this. I picked this guy up in fantasy. He got like 30 points. It was the guy that used to be on he used to be on the Vikings.
Not Irvin Smith.
No, not Irv Smith Jr.
I know who you're talking about.
Tyler Conklin.
Yeah,
That's who it was.
He was a dog.
He's pretty good. That's another blocking tight end, though. Get him Dalton Kincaid. Let me see Kincaid with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers for MVP this year is at plus 1,600. Took that easily.
My question is, how does CJ Uzoma fit into that then if they draft Kincaid?
I'm not worried about CJ Uzuma.
He's
Get him
a
out of there.
dog. Everyone loves CJ Uzoma.
Who would you rather throw to, though? Would you rather throw to Uzuma or Kincaid?
I feel like, for argument's sake, I should say Kincaid, but I also want to be kind of mean and say Uzoma just to go against what you just said.
That's fair.
So,
Very fair.
just because I can. Not even.
All right, so maybe tight end is not a position of need for them.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, okay. You kind of talked me out of it. I think tackle is a good pick here. Their defense is already pretty – their defense is pretty good, man. Like, they don't have a whole lot of holes on defense.
Hear me out. Jack Campbell jumps into the first round, sits behind CJ Mosley for a year.
I'm a big Jack Campbell guy. I think that the NFL mock drafts have him going way too low. He's the type of guy that'll be a defensive captain.
Yeah.
Like, he's a leader of men.
He's been training all offseason with Luke Kuechly, too. So I think if Luke Kuechly's your teacher, man, you know, you're working with one of the best of the past 10 years. You're going to have something. Even if you're not all pro level, Hall of Fame level, you'll make the Pro Bowl a year or two. You'll be solid, second team all pro. Like, I think with Luke Kuechly mentoring him, I think he's going to be a pretty solid player in the league. Like, not to mention all of his intent, like all what he has already.
Who are they showing right here?
I cannot see. I'm
It
looking
says
at
the
Rich
Jets'
Eisen.
biggest need is offensive line and defensive line.
Yeah, I agree with that, actually. I would
Oh,
say,
they're showing Dalton Kincaid. That's who they're showing.
oh, shoot, yeah.
Okay, here's a question for you. Did you do your 7-round mock?
I did. It was bad, but I did it. I did it.
All right, but you got depth in your draft. So let me ask you this: where is Darnell Washington on your tight end rankings?
Darnell Washington, I was early second round. I think he went like,
Really?
yeah.
I have
like
him so much lower than everybody else. He had that huge catch at the combine that everybody was freaking out. I know he's 6'7", 260, whatever. I have him at number 5. I have Luke Musgrave easily above him, and I have Sam Laporta above him.
I have him at 3. I think Musgrave, Laporta, and Washington are all like interchangeable, and then there's Tucker Kraft and like Narnia.
Yeah.
But like I think all 3 of them are interchangeable. The top 2 are Kincaid and Meyer. Those 2 are interchangeable. I could really go with either one and be happy.
Yep.
But you know, we have Darren Waller, so we're okay with that. I'm going this based off of who would want to have on the Giants, because I really only watched Darnell Washington this year, like extensively. I like Darnell Washington a lot, but I do agree that there's definitely the 2 guys better than him. I think he's interchangeable with the other 3. This is a really talented tight end class. I think it's really deep. It's kind of like last year's, where the class was really deep. The Jets
I was very close.
When?
What's up?
The Jets have McCole Hardman since when?
Yeah, they signed him this year.
Oh shoot.
The one thought I had of Darnell Washington going high, I can so see the Cowboys taking Darnell Washington at 27.
I like that, yeah.
To me, that is a Cowboys pick. That is a Jerry Jones pick, especially getting rid of Dalton Schultz.
The Jerry Jones pick would be drafting like JSN if he somehow falls. Like he'd go wide receiver just because he can. He did it with CeeDee Lamb when
they have Brandon Cooks now this year, though.
But imagine the scenes with JSN, Brandon Cooks, and CeeDee Lamb, or whoever they draft, because this receiver class is decent as well. Like Quentin Johnson would be a good fit there too. Because
how long did they get to make this pick? I feel like we've been waiting on the Jets for like 15 minutes.
Pick is in.
I'm hoping for a bum so I can rub it in my friend's face.
New York Jets pick is in.
I don't know if you're gonna get a bum here though.
Probably not. This is such a deep draft class. I feel like there's no room to get a bum unless you're just incompetent. Like last year's Raiders could somehow figure out how to draft someone who's horrible. Or
This really could be any pick.
There's so
Christian
many
Gonzalez is falling so much. Smith and Jigbo would be a good pick if they didn't have receiver galore already.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Kincaid here. I know they don't need a tight end, but to me, he's the best player in a position that's somewhat of need and would help because Aaron Rodgers wants some help on offense. You don't really need O-line. There's no running backs worthy of taking. You have too many receivers. I think it's Kincaid.
I wouldn't be upset with Kincaid, to be honest with you.
Whoever it is, Jets fans will boo
Oh, 100%.
because they're just Jets fans.
They should have Aaron Rodgers come out and make this pick.
That would be so amazing.
So they can start booing him
Yes.
and just get used to it.
Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? Jets fans will get on their knees if Aaron Rodgers comes out. They ain't booing that man. Actually, no. They probably
thought when Brett Favre came in. Look at that work.
Did you hear Zach Wilson says Aaron Rodgers better be ready to come and compete?
Yeah, he said his goal is to make his life in practice a living hell every day.
And then Aaron Rodgers said he'd make his life heaven off the field, which is the most sus quote I've ever heard a player say.
Yeah, well,
And that.
first person in the stands at training camp will be Zach Wilson's mom.
Probably.
Along with Dax Milne.
Oh, of course. Well, that kid.
Who's this little dude hyping him up? I love this.
Bro.
His little tux.
Fresh out of
Baby
Jefferson Elementary School in New York City.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's
It's not Baby Gronk.
his name is.
Are they
Kyle.
booing this kid and they just said he got through throat cancer?
Yes, they just.
Wow.
Wow.
Jets fans are brutal, dude. Jets
That's
fans are so brutal.
Good.
They're booing the kid who just survived cancer.
They might have been booing Goodell, to be fair.
They might have booed
Okay.
Goodell, or they just booed a Make-A-Wish kid, and Jets fans will never.
If they
be
just
able to
booed a
do that.
Make-A-Wish kid, that's like
That's like instant bottom tier team. Like that puts you up there with like the Commanders with just bottom tier trash. What a name.
Will McDonald out of Iowa State.
Will I
Really?
agree. What the hell?
They're taking Will McDonald over Nolan Smith?
That's crazy, bro.
Another player I did not have in my top 31.
I didn't have him in my top 32.
Dude, this kid is so hype. I love this kid.
I love this kid. This is.
I had Will McDonald at 33.
I had him there too.
Player comp, I have him as Hassan Reddick. He's a little bit undersized of a rusher. I don't know. Like, to me, Will McDonald's like 5 pound heavier Nolan Smith, and Nolan Smith is a lot better. Can also play the 3-tech middle linebacker. That's a interesting pick. I would have to give that a C plus.
This is another Paris Johnson situation. You've got Nolan Smith, who is a dog on the board. You've got Miles Murphy on the board, who is insane. He was projected top 10 at the beginning of the year as well.
Yeah, he fell so much. I don't understand that. I had him at like number 12.
And I'd take BJ Ojolari over him too. Also a little biased, but you know.
I have
BJ
Will
Ojolari.
McDonald 2 slots above Ojolari
Yeah.
just because he's a little bit faster.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's very similar of a player, at least
Yeah.
skill wise.
I mean,
All right. So now the Washington Commanders.
Brian Branch,
Joey
Will
Porter
Levis,
Gonzalez.
Will Levis to the
No, they
Commanders.
got Sam Hartman.
Okay, here's the thing though. This is the first Commanders pick that will be
A
a
Commanders.
true player post Dan Snyder era.
Yo,
Has he
no,
been ready?
I changed my mind. This is Christian Gonzalez. 100% it's Christian Gonzalez. They need a corner badly.
Yeah. Him or Joey Porter. I feel like it would be such a Commanders move to go Joey Porter over CG.
But are we talking about this because we're saying this is the way that they've been, or this is the way they're going to be?
It's the way they've
Well,
been.
we don't know how they're going to be honest with you. They still have Ron Rivera at the helm, so their coaching style hasn't really changed, but they need a corner badly. They just need secondary in general. And Christian Gonzalez has dropped enough, I believe, To me, it's an easy pick, but then again, there's been so many picks so far that I have not agreed with.
Yeah.
You were made to remember some days forever. We were made to help you find the way forward.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Will Levis go here. If Will Levis doesn't go here, then Minnesota, I think, picks him up at 24.
I think the Commanders like Sam Howell, which I'm okay with. Will Levis is great for what the New York Giants want to do, which is win the division, because Will Levis does not put the Commanders in any position to do that. But
Yep.
I also like Sam Howell a lot, and I want him to start in this league. So
He
I'm
was
okay.
the
with-
North Carolina dude last year, right?
Yeah, he was projected number 2 overall last year. He did not go number 2 overall.
Yep.
It was him and Spencer Rattler the entire year. Rattler's not even coming out in this draft class anymore.
Is Rattler? He's still at South Carolina, right? He didn't declare.
Yeah, he's still a bum. That guy is a D1 scrub. Like, he's such a jerk to his teammates too. Have you seen his QB1 clips where he's just like flambasting his teammates? It's
No.
so bad. He's such a jerk. You got to watch it after this class. Like, he deserves not being drafted just for how he treats his teammates. He's a horrible teammate. That itself killed his draft stock, let alone his horrible play at Oklahoma.
Wow, to think that we are 15 picks in, we've seen one secondary player go off the board so far.
I think that's a crime considering how good this secondary class is. You've got guys like Deontay Banks, Joey Porter, Christian Gonzalez, Jordan Battle, and Brian Branch still on the board.
I think we're going to see a run of them pretty soon, though.
Yeah. New York Giants might have to get in on that one. We'll trade up, get 2 picks in the first round. We'll be okay. Corner and wide receiver. I hope we trade up in the second round of these, because we're not going to get a decent corner if we go wide receiver in the first. Oh, Peyton Manning commercial.
Shout out Peyton.
I hope he bullies these kids in the commercial like he did in the SNL skit.
SNL skit. That was
I
my favorite.
love that SNL skit. That one and the Eli
Go sit in
Manning
the porta john.
text messages were amazing.
Can't even look at you. Go sit in the porta john for 10 minutes.
Oh my.
All right, so who are we saying? What's our predictions?
Jeez.
I'm going Gonzalez.
Yeah, just because how far he's fallen. I mean, yeah, they need that. Yeah, I gotta say Christian Gonzalez.
I've had corner here for the past month. It's flipped between I've had Gonzalez here, I've had Deontay Banks here, I've had Joey Porter here. It's probably going to be Gonzalez, but just to be different, I'm going to say Joey Porter Jr. I think we need a little differentiation here.
Yeah,
Don't talk about someone else who's
I had
dropping.
him at 22. So, I mean, he's not that far off the board
Yeah.
of being at the 16 spot, but
We
yeah.
want to talk about someone else who's dropped off the board as far as NFL execs go. Nolan Smith was projected to be possibly a top 10 talent. Doesn't look like he's going to go here possibly anytime soon.
Hey,
Yeah, that's kind of shocking.
Although the Commanders do love to draft defensive linemen early. The NFL draft room predicts Hendon Hooker here.
That's crazy.
Hooker before Levis, that would be awesome. I'm very happy that
So hard.
I didn't even want to put Levis as far as 11 on my draft board, but because everyone
There's
had him so high-
Emmanuel Forbes, the cornerback from Mississippi State.
That's absurd.
Really? That's not a terrible pick. Emmanuel Forbes
I had him at
undersized.
28 to the Bengals.
Over Gonzalez, over Porter,
Over Gonzalez, though, that's true.
Yeah, over Christian
Over
Gonzalez,
Banks?
over Deontay Banks, over Joey Porter Jr. That's a little kind of crazy.
I'd take Cam
That was
Smith for Emmanuel Forbes.
That's a player that people had the Redskins drafting. I want to say the Daniel Jeremiah to keep bringing him up because his mock draft honestly has been very good so far.
Well, they're playing
But
Mr.
he had
Brett.
Emmanuel
I like-
Forbes going there too. He's just undersized, but besides that, he's the best ball hawk in this entire draft. He had like 6 pick sixes in his last 2 seasons. Like both
like
seasons, 6 pick sixes or something absurd like that.
Yeah, they're showing one of them right now. I like NFL Network's Samari roll comparison. I actually think that fits him really well.
That is a pretty
Yeah.
good comp. Who did I have him at? I had his comp.
Marcus Jones.
Oh yeah, like a small, undersized corner with a nose for the ball.
Yeah,
He's tiny though. He's 5'8", 166 pounds.
yeah. He's solid. Like I watched a few Mississippi State games just because I had nothing to do. But like, I mean, I just don't see. Oh, Patriots picks already in. I don't see it over Christian Gonzalez. There's got to be some glaring issue. This is like last year with the linebacker who went to Cleveland in the second round, Jackson,
Yep.
Jeremiah Wusa-Koramoah. There's got to be some underlying issue with Gonzalez or something. He should not be falling this far with how talented he is.
Well, listen, before the combine, he was not projected to be a top 20 or not a top 15 pick. And then the combine shot him up on a lot of people.
Yeah,
So maybe they just didn't take that much precedent on the combine.
I guess.
Then again, the Patriots pick is already in. I had the Patriots possibly getting Christian Gonzalez last time. NFL Draft Room thinks that it's Christian Gonzalez.
The NFL draft has been pretty wrong for the past.
If they get Gonzalez
Christian Gonzalez, Oregon.
Gonzalez could be the best corner in the league in a couple of
Christian
years.
Gonzalez to the Patriots.
That's
I'm never gonna hear the end of it from anyone at school.
I think that is a pick that New England will be very happy with.
I hate that he has to be confident. I wanted the jersey too. Now I'm not buying it. I'm not buying a Christian Gonzalez jersey anymore.
This is possibly best case scenario for Gonzalez, man.
Oh, 100%. He's got the
That is actually, I mean, the Patriots in a way, because of Christian Gonzalez dropping all the way down to 17, they kind of get a bargain out of this.
Oh, 100%. And to think that they traded back from 14. So they got, probably a third round pick and Christian Gonzalez.
Yeah. I mean, that's a bargain spot. I still cannot believe Nolan Smith is still on the board.
Nolan Smith.
Will Levis is still on the board.
Miles Murphy. Jackson Smith. They haven't seen a wide receiver go yet. Dude, Zay Flowers might drop to the Giants, man.
Hey, hold up. Let me go grab my Boston College sweatshirt.
Or he'll go to Jacksonville right before the Giants, possibly.
Could you see, and I know this one might be kind of bizarre to think about it. Zay Flowers at 21 to the Chargers.
To the Chargers. So they have Joshua Palmer, Keenan Allen, and Mike Williams. That's a pretty studded lineup, although I've been a big proponent of them getting rid of Keenan Allen because I think he's overrated as hell. I honestly, wherever Smith and Jigba goes now, he's going to go to a playoff contending team that's adding a possible top 2 receiver instantly.
Well, you got the Lions. You got the Lions on the clock.
The Lions could take in Jigba with Amon St. Brown and DJ Chark.
I mean, Jameson Williams thought it would be a great idea to join Calvin Ridley as drafting spokesperson. So
they need a wide receiver too.
This is like scary hours right here for wide receivers. We're gonna see so many fly off the board in the next few picks. I think
this could be Will
you
Levis
got the Lions on the clock with Tampa Bay coming up, and then the Seahawks in the hole.
Yeah, all 3 of those could take receivers.
I mean, I could definitely see Detroit taking one, especially with the suspension of Jameson Williams and also losing Quintez Cephas. I don't know if Tampa Bay would. I think they would stay away from a wide receiver.
Mike Evans has been pretty vocal about he might not want to stay forever. And Chris Godwin, Chris Godwin has like 2 or 3 more years on his.
But Godwin's been every time his contract's been like up, he's always tiptoed with like leaving. The 2 times he's had his contract almost up. I mean, I think Seattle can take one. I think LA can take one. Baltimore, Minnesota, and New York. Those are really the teams after Detroit that I can see a receiver go.
Christian Gonzalez to the Patriots at 17. That is such a steal for the Pats. That is
so
such a
depressing.
steal. And he's not going to need – he will be able to be their nickel corner or a special teamer for a year, get ready for the system. 3 years from now, Christian Gonzalez might be the best corner in the league. I'm not even capping.
Honestly, I could see it, especially with Bill Belichick.
You could be the next Stephon Gilmore.
There's so much talent in that secondary. You got Kyle Duggar, who I was very high on when he was getting drafted. Jack Jones, Marcus Jones, Jonathan Jones. I think he's still there. The Joneses, Christian Gonzalez.
I don't think Jonathan Jones is. I think it's just Jack and Marcus now.
Well, even that, the
could be
two of them are better than Jonathan Jones. I just said his name because he was kind of relevant. But, that's a scary secondary.
Well, the Patriots do this all the time. They take third and fourth round cornerbacks. They make them some of the best in the league. Now they get a first round cornerback who a lot of people said was a top 10 talent.
Yeah.
His potential in the Patriots secondary is enormous.
Yeah. And, that's the greatest defensive head coach of all time. The greatest head coach.
Now think about this. I like what the Patriots did in the offseason. First of all, getting OC. Who's the OC from Bama? Brian
Dable. Or not Dable. What's his
Bill
name?
O'Brien. Bill O'Brien. Getting Bill O'Brien to be a permanent OC to give Mac Jones an actual play caller. Getting Mike Gesicki, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Devontae Parker. That offense is good, but I got to tell you, they needed O-line help. Like, I know that the value's here. They can get O-line help a little bit deeper, but they really needed O-line help.
Oh, my.
What do you think, Matt, as the sole Patriots fan here? You must be pretty happy with this pick, right?
Yeah, I mean, I had Gonzalez up higher at 9 to what was originally a Bears pick turned into an Eagles pick. But yeah, I look at it, I'm going, yeah, thank you. This is what we need. I think the defense was the most sus part of the Patriots last season. So if you shore up the defense and then use a later pick to maybe pick up a receiver or two, yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way that went.
How do you think the Patriots do this season with now Aaron Rodgers on the Jets, with the Bills being stacked, with Dolphins being pretty well off if Tua is healthy? How do you think the Pats do?
If they make the wild card, they're lucky, but I think the Patriots, honestly, are probably now the worst team in the AFC East.
How quick the top dogs can fall, huh?
How the turntables.
Yeah, I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
It happens, but then again, we sit here and we say this stuff now, and yet we have to also remember this is why you play the season, because we can talk about how it looks on paper and we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, game 1 of the season, somebody rolls the wrong way on Josh Allen's leg and the Bills season is done.
Yeah.
It's like somebody, Aaron Rodgers goes into another darkness retreat and the Jets are the Jets.
I think that Bill O'Brien's presence can't be understated.
Yeah, or Bill O'Brien decides to run Houston Texans strategy, instead of Alabama strategy. The thing I thought with Bill O'Brien coming back to the Patriots was that he was going to bring the Alabama playbook to the Patriots and let Mac be Mac, and set him into a system that fits. So I don't know. It's very interesting, but I will for always be a Patriots fan, but I don't like the Patriots in the AFC East right now against anybody else.
I think Gonzalez was the right pick here. It's great value. I would have loved to see Smith and Jigba here. And I'm not a Patriots fan, but I think Smith and Jigba also. But Gonzalez was the right pick. And I think it's a great pick. I think it's probably an A pick for me, honestly, because he's going to be an amazing corner in a couple years. He might even be a starting corner this year.
Oh, 100%. He's starting this year.
All right, Lions selection's in.
All 18.
NFL Draft Room predicts Kalijah Cansey at this pick, by the way.
I would actually be okay with that. I think
They
this
drafted
like
Jahmyr Gibbs at 12.
Elijah Cansey at 18.
They easily could have had Jahmyr Gibbs at 18, by the way.
It
Easily.
really doesn't get much worse than Jahmyr Gibbs at 12. So there's only really up you can go from here unless you're drafting Stetson Bennett.
Jack
Yeah,
Campbell.
I mean,
Jack Campbell
That's a
goes at
good
number
pick.
18. That is, again, such a Dan Campbell pick.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
I do too. I had the Lions drafting Jack Campbell in the second round.
I had Jack Campbell going. I had him going early.
You had him to the Bills.
Yeah, I had him to the Bills.
I think that this pick is even better than that. I think he just fits in the system a lot better. I wasn't sure if he was going to go this high, but I mean, I'm all for it. I think Dan Campbell's the people's coach, not named Mike McDaniel. I think Jack Campbell's going to really fit in here. He's going to really like it, and he's going to have a lot of fun. And especially when the guys are having fun, they play a lot better. You look at the Commanders; those guys aren't enjoying their football. They're there because they're getting paid to be there. You got to look at the guys in Detroit before Dan Campbell. They didn't want to be there. They were getting there because they were getting paid a ton of money. They're like now Detroit is enjoying the football they're playing. They're enjoying being there, and a lot of that comes from Dan Campbell and the culture he's built. And I think
a lot of it comes from Dan Campbell. I think most of it comes from Jameson Williams' betting advice, if I'm being honest. They get a lot of insider trade. The Buccaneers pick is already in, by the way. Pick number 19 coming up.
oh God.
No, be Hendon Hooker, please. Pick Hooker over Will Levis. I'll die.
Stetson Bennett. I feel like Stetson Bennett and Jameson Williams have caught a lot of strays tonight.
Could you imagine
They
going
really
from could you imagine going from Tom Brady to Will Levis?
That would be so funny.
Dude,
Every
do you
single
think Will
Tampa Bay
Levis,
is moving back to New England.
do you think that banana peel thing hurt Will Levis draft stock?
I just think it was the mayo and the coffee.
The mayo and the coffee, I'm more okay with that than the banana, honestly. Don't get me wrong, both are
weird.
both give me serial killer vibes, he's not gonna lie. But like the banana peel, that's weird.
Banana Bill was kind of like
Yeah, that was odd. You know what really hurt his draft stock? Him telling his family and friends he was going number 1, and now he's sitting at 19 looking stupid.
Dude, that was so funny. Some guy on Reddit was like, yeah, I know Will Levis personally. He said that he's a shoo-in for pick 1.
somebody does that every year though.
I hope
mean,
that's true, though. I really do. Just because my dislike of Will Levis would extend to that. No. I hope it's true.
So the Lions take Jahmyr Gibbs at 12. They take Jack Campbell at 18. Now, both are great players, but both, I believe, could have gone in the second round.
Probably.
What are we saying for the Lions? It could pay off because you got two very good players, two Jack Campbell-like players, fits the system.
Give him a B minus.
I just don't – there's no value there, like zero.
But it's Jack Campbell. And
They
he's
did
hot.
trade down, to be fair. They went from 6 to 12, so it's not like they were picking one of those guys at 6.
Yeah. But hear me out, Zach. I don't like guys like that, but Jack Campbell's hot, man. That's
He
got to
is.
be at least a B minus.
The Jack Campbell pick, I'm definitely higher on than Jahmyr Gibbs. The Gibbs pick's weird because they have Swift and
Kalijah
Montgomery.
Cansey. Way to go, Buccaneers.
Who'd they get?
Kalijah Cansey.
Him and Vita Vea actually might be a good pairing.
Wow, yeah. You
Yeah.
have the 350 pounder and the 270 pounder.
That is right. Yeah, you just hit it right there. With Vita Vea, that is a good pair.
Now listen, this is a stretch, I know, but the Kalijah Cansey comparison to Aaron Donald is uncanny, right? Like
You're
it's
grabbing anything you can for that comparison, but I like
not
it.
even close, dude. They're both undersized defensive tackles from Pitt. It's the exact player. He just doesn't have the same production.
I hope he does. I hope he becomes Aaron Donald. I think that would be really great for the sport of football if we have 2 Aaron Donalds, or one and then instantly replaced by Kalijah Cansey. But I don't know. I kind of like Ed Oliver a little better. I'm not gonna lie.
Ed Oliver is another good one. That's a
I
good
think
shout.
that's a more reasonable one, and that puts a lot less pressure on him than Aaron Donald.
To
Like,
me,
what-
though, Ed Oliver is more of a run stuffer, and Kalijah Cansey's definitely a pass rusher. That was the only thing. And I know Aaron Donald. You shouldn't be comparing anyone to Aaron Donald. I
Oh,
get
yeah.
that. It's
That's
definitely like a high ceiling comparison, 100%. But it's the exact same player coming out, just like 11 years later or whatever it is, 8 years later.
Yeah, 9 years later, yeah. I mean, I can kind of see it. Like, I'm not going to sit here and just deny it. Like, you do make a good point with, undersized, and he does have a high motor.
It's 100% a stretch.
Right now.
I'm not denying that. 100% a stretch. Do I think he'll be Aaron Donald? No. Do I think he'll be like, if Aaron Donald's a 99, do I think Cansey could be a 92 version of Aaron Donald? Yeah, I do. Especially in that defense, because I'll tell you what, the Buccaneers pass rush with Vita Vea, Kalijah Cansey, Shaquille Barrett, and Joe Tryon, that's pretty good.
And Devin White, if he decides not to leave.
And Devin White. They have Levante David for another year. That front seven.
87-year-old Levante David. I used to trade for him in, like, Madden 17.
That front seven is. I guess they're like, screw it, we'll go for a quarterback next year. Maybe
I mean,
Baker
we got Caleb Williams. Like, why not? Rock with Baker Mayfield for a year.
What team is going to tank for Caleb Williams? What team's going to get the number 1 pick next year?
I know the Commanders are trying to make a play for him. Like they said, they're going to try and sell Josh Sweat, and they might sell Josh Sweat and Chase Young during the draft, but I doubt it anymore. If they were going to trade one of them, they were going to trade up for like 3.
I mean, who's just going to also be potentially the worst team this year?
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
If Matt Stafford stays the quarterback, the Rams, which means
No, the Rams are going to be better with Stafford. Stafford's going to go back to 2021, I'm telling you.
I don't think
Big
so.
fan of Stafford.
I love Stafford, Georgia guy. Always been one of my favorite quarterbacks because I kind of felt bad for him for being stuck in Detroit for so long. I think he's done.
I got 3 potential number 1 picks. Ready?
Yep.
The one I think is most likely is the Cardinals. I could see the Cardinals getting the number 1 pick next year.
Yeah,
especially if Murray can't stay healthy. Number 2, give me some credit. Possibly Green Bay. Possibly.
Jordan Love isn't Jordan Love.
Jordan Love's
It might not be it.
Yeah, Jordan Love's just not it.
And then number 3 for me was Tampa Bay because Baker Mayfield, who knows, if he can't stay healthy and you got to trot out there.
Kyle Trask and Blaine Gabbert.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Blaine Gabbert, the journeyman.
Hey,
Listen, Caleb Williams is a phenom next year.
yeah.
He
If we
will
thought
be.
Young was big. Caleb Williams is like almost up there with Trevor Lawrence.
He's close. He's close to that. He really is.
I
And
mean,
that
hey,
is
what are the chances we get a Geno Smith situation with Blaine Gabbert? Bruce Arians said he could start.
Wait, Blaine Gabbert's on the
that's what I was
Chiefs?
thinking of.
I think he's on the team, right?
Yep.
Blaine
he's
Gabbert's
on
on the Chiefs.
He is?
Blaine Gabbert just signed with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, he's the anything is possible replacement. Chad Henne retired, right?
Hey, Mahomes, yeah. He's
So Blaine Gabbert goes home.
Wrote us flip sides. He said,
imagine Mahomes hurts his ankle again and Blaine Gabbert just has this run in the middle of the season.
Blaine Geno Smith Gabbert.
Yeah.
But Blaine Gabbert goes home. That's kind of crazy. This has got to be the end of his career.
Probably. I think he'll probably.
This has got to be it. He's from Baldwin, Missouri. He goes to University of Missouri. Now he comes home to the Kansas City Chiefs. This has got to be, he's been playing in the league since 2011. This has got to be it. This has got to be just like, I wanted to play one more season and I wanted to get it at home.
I feel like he could take the AJ McCarron approach and just be done with the NFL. I feel like he would be a dog in the XFL. He's a talented quarterback.
He's been playing for 12 seasons. He has a Super Bowl title.
That's really with who? Oh, with the Buccaneers.
Tampa Bay. It was Brady's backup.
That's right.
I forgot about that.
I mean, look, you were You were a 10th overall pick by the Jaguars. You've won a Super Bowl. You've
49ers.
played 12 years. Like, now you get to play one season. You get to play mop-up ball if Patrick Mahomes doesn't get hurt. You play mop-up ball in one season at home, and then you call it a career.
He's gonna come in like the AFC Championship game and win it. Like that's the kind of thing I'm saying.
Or do the Chiefs repeat and he gets to call himself a 2-time Super Bowl champion?
That would be absurd. From bust to 2-time Super Bowl champion is crazy. That's like
awesome.
that's like David Carr type stuff right there.
All right, so we got the Seahawks on the clock right now. Number 5 pick. They took Tyree Wilson. They're now sitting at number 20.
And then Hooker.
They could really go anywhere here. I'm going to go ahead and say Smith and Jigba, honestly. I think you pair Smith and Jigba, who is kind of a Tyler Lockett similar kind of guy. You put him with DK Metcalf, give Geno Smith another option. They're all in with Geno Smith. They're trying to win a Super Bowl.
But hear me out. Hendon Hooker, though. Like, I mean,
yeah, no, you're not wrong. You're definitely not wrong. They could go quarterback here easily. They also, mind you, they have the 38th pick, right?
Yeah.
So they have the 6th pick in the second round. I think Hooker or Levis will drop to that.
Yeah, probably.
But do they want to wait? Do they want to? They have so much draft capital that they have a second round pick. So, like,
I'd just wait. I mean, you've got the Broncos' second round pick. Like, you finesse the Broncos. You have all of their draft capital for the next 5 years. You might as well just sit and wait, and whoever you get at 6 in the next round or 8 or whatever you said it was is the quarterback of the future after Geno leaves. I feel like with Pete Carroll, he can manage Hendon Hooker, maybe Will Levis.
So the NFL draft room prediction is Myles Murphy.
I like that, actually.
Yeah, I do too. You add Tyree Wilson and Myles Murphy in the same draft,
Bro.
That's pretty good.
You get Tyree Wilson, Myles Murphy, Bobby Wagner's back. Wait, no, not Tyree Wilson.
Yeah, Tyree Wilson.
Was it? I thought it was Devon Witherspoon. Tyree Wilson went to the Falcons or something. No, was it Tyree Wilson?
No, Tyree went 5.
I'm so dumb.
Yeah,
Tyree Wilson, Myles Murphy.
Wait. I might be wrong. I'm looking at my mock.
Wilson
I'm not looking at
to the Raiders.
They did get Devon Witherspoon. I'm sorry.
Devon Witherspoon, Tariq Woolen, Jamal Adams, Kobe Bryant, Myles Murphy. That's an insane defense. That's like Legion of Boom type stuff. Like, that's what they're trying to rebuild right here.
Mm-hmm.
That makes me reminiscent, bro. My go-to Madden 14 team, Seattle Seahawks.
Right. That defense is.
Pick is in.
It could be. I would like Nolan Smith here, actually. I feel like he'd be a real good fit for this defense.
Nolan Smith would be a great pick.
Bro, there are so many ways they can go with this, and I like
Smith
all
and
of them.
Jigba. Dude, a receiver needs to come off the board.
We have not had a single receiver or tight end.
We've had 2 skill positions, both running backs.
5 picks away from New York, and every receiver is still on the board that I want. Oh, they got the entire Boys and Girls Club out here.
Yeah, they do.
I feel like the city of Seattle is just really good at making athletes.
Why? Who comes out of Seattle?
I mean, just in general, obviously basketball has been such an important city for sports. Like, Isaiah Thomas came out of Seattle, the short one, not the good one.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Gary Payton was from Seattle. I could be wrong about that. There's been a ton of really good athletes.
Smith and Jigba becomes the first wide receiver off the board.
Hey, I'm okay with that. We still got Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison, Josh Downs, Quentin Johnson. Hopefully we don't draft Quentin Johnson. And Jalen Hyatt.
That's a really good pick.
It is, dude. It really is.
To get him.
Yeah.
That's a great pick. I have a Seahawks fan. I have a friend that's a Seahawks fan. He's going to be really happy with that pick, dude.
I thought that was his girlfriend for a second. That's his mom.
Oh, jeez. Hey, you might like older women, you know. You never know.
That Zach Wilson trait.
Yeah, Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson's I bet Zach Wilson was definitely praying he was drafted by the Jets. He's one look at his mom and Zach Wilson was simping.
So Smith and Jigba, who my player comparison was his teammate last year, Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
People will tell you he's the best of those three receivers. He now goes to Seahawks, who already have DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. And they have, think about this too, and now they have a tremendous secondary. So they got Tariq Woolen, Devon Witherspoon, and Kobe Bryant. Those six are going to be going against each other every day in practice, making each other better. With Geno Smith, who had a career resurgence, and Kenneth Walker, the Seahawks.
Eagles,
good.
Yep. Calling it now. Clip it, save it. Seahawks Eagles is our NFC championship this year.
And with the first wide receiver coming off the board, I'm going to bid you gentlemen good night because some of us are not as young as you are.
Hey, man. Dude, congrats on your picks. You probably had one of the better mock drafts of us three. You killed it with the top 10.
I got lucky this year. What can I say? I think I might need to go buy a lottery ticket.
Thank you for coming on, man. It's been a while since I actually got to talk to you anyway, so hope everything's good and happy drafting.
Thanks. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys soon.
Later, man.
All right. Bye.
All right. So Smith and Jigba to the Hawks. We got the Chargers up next.
This is Zay Flowers territory right here, man. Zay Flowers.
I had them taking a running back or Dalton Kincaid too to get the Hunter Henry replacement.
They got Gerald Everett though.
Yeah, but Everett didn't have. I thought he was gonna have a great season last year. He really didn't do much.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert. Listen, Justin Herbert is one of my guys. Okay. Loved him coming out of Oregon. I think he's a great player. Everybody talks like he's a top 7 player in the league, or quarterback in the league, and he might be. But it's getting to the point that you got to show me something now. Like,
yeah, exactly.
You haven't gotten to the playoffs, I don't think. If you did, it was first round and out. You had Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Josh Palmer, Austin Eckler.
Yeah, he wants out though.
You got to do something, and you have a good O line. Rashawn Slater is one of the best tackles in the league.
And they got Jeremy Slayer as well on the other side. And Brian Bulaga. Jeremy Slayer had a really good year for someone out of Georgia who I didn't know existed. To come in as, I think, a second or third round pick and play the way he did in place of Rashawn Slater, he could probably start on the other side of that line in place of whoever they had already.
So, you know what I mean? So, at this point, Keenan Allen's not getting any younger.
Yeah.
Joshua Palmer, who knows how long you're going to get out of him.
Yeah.
Slater, same way. Zay Flowers would be a good pick here. I don't know if it's not a position of need though, right?
Yeah, they have depth, but I think with the concerns of, like you said, what's his name getting older, Allen getting older. I think even Mike Williams is getting up there. He's like 27, and 27's like, early 30s for wide receivers. Like it's about a three year increase when you're talking about wide receiver age, unless you're Larry Fitzgerald or Jerry Rice. Right. But I mean, I think that it makes sense to go wide receiver here, just because having that third option over Josh Palmer. I love Josh Palmer, great guy, a great player. I mean, but you could have Zay Flowers, who's infinitely better than him. He can come in and replace Keenan Allen once he's out. I think their route running almost stacks up. Keenan Allen's definitely a better route runner, but Zay Flowers is a really good route runner as it is. I think that he can come in and fill in, play some slot for this year, and eventually take over that number 1, number 2 spot, play with Mike Williams, and have a really good pairing there. You got your burner, and then Mike Williams is your guy who goes up and gets that ball. That's the way I see it.
I'm gonna go ahead. And you know what they could do? They could use some edge help. I'm gonna go ahead and say it's either gonna be Nolan Smith or Dalton Kincaid. I would probably teeter towards Kincaid though, if I'm being honest.
I actually like both of those picks. I think both of those make sense too.
Nolan Smith, it's funny. That was my one concern that I was like, I might have picked him way too low. I had him at 27 to Dallas.
Yeah.
It wasn't terrible, huh? Joey Porter Jr. is also sliding.
Yeah. JPJ sliding, Deontay Banks.
They really don't need corner help, though.
I don't think they need corners. I think they're already there.
They have Desmond King, Michael Davis, Asante Samuel Jr. They don't need corner.
Is Desmond King still in San Diego or in Los Angeles? I thought he was in Houston.
Oh yeah, you're right. He is in Houston. So they got Davis and Asante Samuel. Maybe they could use corner.
And maybe safety. They lost Nasir Adderley. He retired at 25 years old.
Did they lose Nasir? Where did he go?
He retired at age 25.
Really? I don't know if I knew that.
You know,
I loved him. What was he? North Dakota State?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, he was great coming out of college.
Maybe this is where we see Brian Branch?
I'm a huge Brian Branch guy. I thought that he was severely underrated in the draft. I almost had him at his top 10 grade, honestly.
I like
Here we go. Pick is in.
Now here comes the Chargers. With the 21st pick in the 2023 NFL Draft.
Not so flowers. Not so flowers. Not so flowers. Not so flowers.
Quentin Johnson.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Fall to us, please. All right.
Wow.
Until the Giants pick, we're wearing the Boston College sweatshirt.
Wow, dude. Quentin Johnson, I thought was a little overrated. So tell me not. Quentin Johnson is completely in the same mold as Keenan Allen and Mike Williams.
I agree.
Same player.
I mean, he's tall. He's got the speed. I think that, he's a good player. I think that he is. Maybe put Mike Williams and like Keenan Allen together. That's probably Quentin Johnson. He's got Mike Williams' height. I think Keenan Allen used to be a lot faster when he was younger.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty much Quentin Johnson. He's just if the two of them had a child, pretty much.
I feel like this pick kind of solidifies that the Chargers, again, they're given another option for Justin Herbert. Can't hurt. I think what this is telling me is that they're going to be ready to get rid of Allen or Mike Williams next season.
You know what I think is crazy? They didn't invite Quentin Johnson, and he got drafted before Addison and Zay Flowers. That's so disrespectful.
I'm not a big Addison guy. I thought Addison was he was supposed to come into the combine and test so much faster than he did, and he didn't test that fast. He's small, he's slight. Like Jordan Addison to me is a B- version of Zay Flowers, which is still a top 35 prospect. I have
36. Oh my.
Yeah,
Hendon Hooker. Oh wow. This is news to me. I didn't see this. I like some of these though. I think the Addison one's a little low, but besides that, I like it.
Well, that's one of those personal things. I know a lot of people had him higher, but for me, he's a little too. He's the Emmanuel Forbes of the wide receivers for me. Like he has a huge boom potential, but he needs to hit the weight room, in my opinion.
The other thing is like, especially you as a Colts fan, like you're not necessarily looking at receivers. You have Michael Pittman already. Like you have.
Believe me, I'm looking at receivers because all I have is Michael Pittman.
I guess.
Alec Pierce was a really good rookie last year.
Alec Pierce was a dog, bro.
We lost Paris Campbell, who was our deep threat last year.
New York.
To be honest, I'm not even a huge Michael Pittman guy. Like I think he's good, but he has a ceiling.
Yeah,
like he's not going to be a 1,400 receiving yards kind of guy. He's going to get maybe 1,000 yards. He might get 12 touchdowns in a year, but I would have. To be honest with you, I would take Jordan Addison in the second round if I'm the Colts.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not a huge Jalen Hyatt guy either. I thought that he's the same way as Addison. He should have tested a lot faster than he did. Jalen Hyatt tested it I thought he was going to be in the 4.3s. Like he was supposed to be the fastest guy in the draft.
Yeah.
And he was like a 4.55.
I thought
I get the 40-yard dashes and everything, especially I'd rather look at tape rather than a combine. But I just thought that was kind of a red flag.
Yeah, I think going into the draft, it was him and Jaden Reed for me when it came to speed. I think Jaden Reed out of Michigan State is an absolute burner. And both of them didn't really put up the speeds I expected. I was expecting 4.2s for Hyatt, I'm not going to lie, which is a high expectation, but he was talking himself up the entire process leading up to it. And I was expecting high 4.3s for Jaden Reed. I believe he did low 4.3s. But on the field, you look at their speed in the field and the way they get by corners, the way they make defenders look absolutely stupid. Like their speed is so evident. Like it shows that it's there.
We have the Baltimore Ravens coming up on the clock. So the Ravens signed Lamar Jackson, 5-year, $260 million, $185 million guaranteed. Lamar Jackson gets less guaranteed money than Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Then again, almost everybody's getting less guaranteed money than Deshaun Watson. They signed Odell Beckham to what I thought was way too high of a deal.
Horrible deal. But I'm okay with it. My son is eating, and that's all that matters. Odell's making bank.
Mm-hmm. So they have now OBJ,
Rashad
Nelson Aguilar, Devin Duvernay, and Rashad Bateman as receivers. I don't think they go receiver here.
And I'm
To me personally, the Ravens are a little bit in the same spot as the Giants, I think. They have a lot of like mid receivers. But the problem is the Ravens receivers haven't gotten that much playing time. Bateman, rookie season, didn't play a lot because he got hurt. Devin Duvernay has been more of a special teams guy. OBJ hasn't really played in the last 2 seasons besides that Rams run he went on.
Yeah.
Nelson Aguilar, I watched Nelson Aguilar on the Patriots this year. I'm from Rhode Island and New England, so
Yeah.
Nelson Aguilar is not going to do you much.
No,
He might get a deep threat, a 40-yard touchdown twice a year. But like, draft another wide receiver or hope that he can become your number 1 receiver, or is he just going to get caught in the mix? And that's where I was with the Giants too.
Yeah. I mean, hear me out. Odell Beckham Jr. has run out of ACLs to tear. He's already torn both of them. He cannot physically tear another ACL. He could have a career renaissance, or he could be horrible. As a Giants fan, I'm obviously hoping he does well. I think that him and Bateman are going to be a pretty solid duo. You're right. They don't really need a wide receiver. I think one would be nice, would be a luxury pick. I don't know if the Ravens can afford that right now. But yeah, I think their situation is definitely better than ours. I mean, we have our number 1 wide receiver, Sterling Shepard. Like, his jersey didn't even get hung up. It got put on a pillow. That's how mid he is. And he hasn't been healthy in the past 3 years. Like, a wide receiver would be so beneficial to us. Whoever we draft, if we draft one, Wan'Dale Robinson, and then like Shepard and
Didn't you guys get Jamison Crowder?
Yeah, but it's Jamison Crowder. When
I like Jamison Crowder. I thought he was really underused on the Bills.
I don't remember the last time he was good. Like Washington, New York. Like
anyway, going back to the Ravens, I think this pick to me, honestly, is a little easy. And I might be not thinking about it enough, but Joey Porter Jr. here makes a lot of sense. With Marcus Peters leaving, they need someone to pair Marlon Humphrey with. They got
Marlon Humphrey, and then in the secondary, in the safety with Kyle Hamilton. Oh, that's absurd.
That would be a good pick, and it's a physical corner, which is what you want in Baltimore. I think that pick just makes sense. And you think about it, Joey Porter Sr. was playing against them for his whole career.
Twice a year against his father's old team would be crazy.
I think that makes a lot of sense to me. Although NFL Draft Room is predicting Jordan Addison.
No, please no.
Over Zay Flowers. Hey. All right, so coming up next, we have Minnesota, who's probably getting a QB, I think. I think it's Hendon Hooker. 25 is Jacksonville. I don't think they go for a receiver. So
Cyrus Torrance. He should
you might be able to land Zay Flowers. Then again, the Giants might not draft Flowers, to be honest with you.
If we draft Zay Flowers, my mom is waking up today. I'm right under her right now. My mom is waking up.
Tight end
gets drafted. We have Darren Waller.
You do have Darren Waller. Darren Waller killed me in fantasy last year because he was hurt.
Daniel Bellinger. Our offense is 1 wide receiver away from being insane. Like one.
Well, you need Barkley too.
Don't worry about that yet. We'll figure it out. We'll sign Zeke from the depths of hell. He'll play
Zay Flowers to the Ravens.
Nope.
Oh man, you were so cool. Man. Ravens select Zay Flowers, number 22 overall.
I hate this. I hate the sport so much. I hate that it makes me feel so sad all the time. And I wish Zay Flowers would have not crushed my happiness.
Technically, the Ravens crushed your happiness. It wasn't.
Yeah, Yeah, but he can refuse to sign the contract. He could do a John Elway or Eli Manning.
Go to the XFL.
John
Guys-
Elway or Eli Manning refused to sign. Be like, I want to play for New York.
Dude, Zay Flowers has the potential to be wide receiver 1 in Baltimore this year.
He probably will be, knowing.
You know what's so funny? My Zay Flowers, I compared him to Devontae Smith, right?
Yeah.
That's his player comp for me. I almost compared him to someone that I compared to Jordan Addison. I thought Addison compared to him closer, so I put him for Addison. Marquise Brown.
Yeah.
And now they just got, I think it's a Marquise Brown with better route running is Zay
Yeah.
Flowers.
Plus,
That's
he
a
has ACL. So it's okay.
That's a pretty good pick by the. I don't think they really needed it. I think Joey Porter would have been a better position of need, but I'm not mad at it.
Look, we can just ignore Minnesota and Jacksonville right now. I think we need to talk about the Giants for a second because this is important, and Minnesota and Jacksonville are not.
Yep.
We are in such a great position right now. We have Deonte Banks. We have Joey Porter, Jordan Addison still on the board. And if you want to include Jalen Hyatt and Josh Downs, be my guest. We have our pick of the field here. And we've got Cam Smith and Kelly Ringo still. We have our pick of the field. We trade down. I'm okay with that at this point. We are set right now.
I honestly, hear me out.
Mhm.
If I were a Giants fan, I think I might want Brian Branch.
Oh, yeah. We need a Julian Love replacement.
You guys got Xavier McKinney back there. I like McKinney.
Former Alabama boys in the safeties.
Throw Brian Branch in there. And then you got Branch who can cover the nickel if
Yeah.
you do get rid of Dory Jackson.
If we do that though, I hope we trade up. Like, I want Brian Branch. I don't know if he's gonna. I know I had him going to Jacksonville a lot. I have him going to Jacksonville in my.
Yeah, Jacksonville might take him too.
If he doesn't go to Jacksonville, we take him. I'll be okay as long as we trade up and get a high second round pick and get like Josh Downs or Jalen Hyatt.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I see it.
Zay Flowers goes to the Ravens. All right, so Minnesota. Dude, Will Levis is still. Could this be Will Levis? Could it be Hendon Hooker?
Cousins replacement.
Yeah, right. That's right. Are you drafting a replacement for Kirk Cousins? That is Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, that is. You're taking Kirk Cousins and you're just replacing him with Kirk Cousins. Like when Kirk Cousins retires, it's not going to be the Kirk Cousins meme anymore. It's going to be the Will Levis meme. We're gonna have like, eyeliner Will Levis, all that. It's not you're just replacing Kirk Cousins with Kirk Cousins. It's not really that.
Here's the thing, though. All right, so Minnesota's been shopping around Dalvin Cook.
Yeah,
That's been a big thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they don't, like, name a better position for a rookie QB to go into in the NFL. Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook as your main options, and TJ Hawkinson.
Oh my! And
One of
KJ
the best skill position groups in the NFL. Give it to Hendon Hooker, who has a better upside, who has much better decision-making ability. Will Levis, scratch that. Will Levis has a better upside. Hendon Hooker has a way lower floor, in my opinion. Hendon Hooker is also a little older. He's 25, and Will Levis, I think, is only 22.
He's an old man.
Hendon Hook, like, if you draft Will Levis, you're waiting for Kirk Cousins to retire. If you draft Hendon Hooker could take over from Cousins this season.
If he wanted to, yeah.
Right.
It's up to how much work he puts in, man. I think he's got the tools. He definitely does. I mean, if you've seen his arm, obviously, like that whole Tennessee room is insane. That wide receiver, that quarterback room with their arms, him, Joe Milton, they can sling that ball 90 yards down the field. It's absurd. Both of them are insane. We're gonna probably see Joe Milton next year out of the draft if he starts. But what Hooker did this year was really impressive. I know some people have been saying it's a lot of it's Tennessee system and how it's really favorable in college, but I think that he does have the ability and the intangibles and the skill to put it together with the right coaching staff in the NFL.
Man. All right, so if they don't go quarterback here, which I think would be a mistake.
Yeah.
The only other player I can see them going with is possibly DeJuan Jones, the tackle, because they could use a tackle.
What about
they could also go Joey Porter again. Like they could use a cornerback.
Andrew Booth wasn't that healthy this year.
At this point, anybody that drafts Joey Porter is going to be,
Yeah.
or Brian Branch is going to be getting a star.
Hear me out. Brian Brzee. They do need a Dalvin Tomlinson replacement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They do.
Like, I love Dalvin Tomlinson. He was horrible in Minnesota. Not
Yeah.
nearly as good as he was in New York. But, like,
They have Daniil Hunter that they can pair with him, too.
yeah. But how long is Daniil Hunter going to be around for?
Daniil Hunter's still young. He's 26.
Yeah, but how long is it going to be before he wants out?
Before he leaves. Yeah,
How
okay.
many playoff losses to the New York Giants is it going to take before he's
They're saying that the Vikings' biggest need is a cornerback right now.
I can see that, though. I mean, but they brought in Byron Murphy from Arizona. Like, that's the problem.
I really like Byron Murphy.
I love Byron Murphy. I like him. Him and Andrew Booth is going to be such a good duo if Booth can just stay on the field. The same with Byron Murphy. If they can stay on the field together, they're solid. I think that's why they're concerned. And they lost Pat Pete. They waived Cam Dantzler. I can't name another corner lower on the depth chart than that. I could definitely see them taking Joey Porter here and it being a solid option. He becomes cornerback number 2 over Andrew Booth, and Booth becomes their slot corner guy or their backup,
which is what he was in Clemson anyway. He was more of a nickel.
Yeah. Like I liked Andrew Booth in the draft process. Not loved, but I liked him last year in the draft process. I think he'd be better as Joey Porter's backup.
So far in the draft, I gotta say, there's been some head scratchers. Mainly, the Jets taking Will McDonald at 15, and the Lions taking Jahmyr Gibbs at 12.
I think the
Bears. But the Bears taking Darnell Wright.
Yeah.
Besides that, there hasn't been like a crazy pick. Like no one below mine. Jack Campbell's 38 on my list. He's been the biggest reach, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. There's no Chattanooga in this draft.
Yeah. I'm looking for the Vikings war room looks hyped. They're very happy.
The Vikings draft so well. Whoever they draft, I have a very high expectation for. The way that
NFL draft room predicts Joey Porter Jr. here.
I'm okay with that. I'm very okay with that. I mean, it's Joey Porter. He's a dog. What he did for Penn State this year is insane.
Penn State is low-key one of the best hotbeds for NFL talent.
Yeah.
At least first rounders. Like if you get a first rounder out of Penn State, you're getting a star.
Yeah, like you have a dog regardless. That's just how it is. It's like the rule of college football. Penn State will always be a farm for NFL talent. Oh yeah, I can see the war room now.
I always thought like, what's gonna happen one of these NFL drafts outside when it just starts pouring?
That would
Like
be so
midway
fun.
through the draft. Everybody
I
leaves.
think they pick like places where they always check for the forecast and stuff.
Right, I know, but at the same time, like they set this date a while in advance. You know what I mean?
I see. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
Me and Matt were talking about that before you got here. There's been like 8 outdoor NFL drafts. None of them have had rain.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why they always did it in the Radio City Music Hall for so long, so they didn't have to deal with it being rained out.
Yeah.
And then ever since they've done it in other locations, and it's it's been a lot better.
They have where the 2024 draft will be yet?
I think so. I'm not entirely sure. They probably do. They usually have this stuff down pat.
Detroit. It'll be in Detroit.
That's such a depressing place to have a draft. I don't care if they're good now.
Pick is in. Jordan Addison goes to the Vikings.
I hate everything. I hate life.
That's interesting.
I'm gonna cry.
That's another option for Kirk Cousins, dude.
Zach, this isn't good.
Don't worry, man. We talked about it. You're just gonna get Joey Porter Jr. You'll be fine, or Brian Branch.
I want Brian Branch. If Jacksonville has a problem of stealing the players that I want, whether it's before or after we go, like every time I want a player, Jacksonville takes them. Like I wanted Josh Allen, Jacksonville takes him. I want Brian Branch. I guarantee you Jacksonville is going to take him. I wanted Trayvon Walker at 5 because I thought he would fall that far. Jacksonville takes him. Every time I want someone, it's always Jacksonville.
like they're definitely up there with one of my least favorite teams. Even though I kind of like them when it comes to draft season, Jacksonville is public enemy number like 4.
I hope they get such a bust here. The Jaguars look like they're going to run my division for 10
Giants
years.
is traded up. Giants is traded up. Giants is
Oh,
traded
yeah?
up. Giants is traded up.
No shit. Dude, Jordan Addison's so small. Oh, my God.
Sorry.
The Giants trade up. All right, so who are they getting? Is it Branch?
It has to be Brian Branch, bro. I'm looking this up. I'm looking up the trade details.
I think it's probably Joey Porter. Not going to lie to you.
You were Branch.
What if it's like Jalen Hyatt or Josh Downs?
I'm jumping off the bridge. I'm jumping off the Mount Hope Bridge if that's the pick.
We said that there was going to be a wide receiver run in that back half.
I hate that it started. It started one pick too early, in my opinion. If it started one pick later, it would have been solid.
Would you have really wanted Jordan Addison though?
Yes, I wanted him, or Jordan Addison was like so set on being in New York too. Like the entire back end of the draft process, he was always posting retweeting pictures of him photoshopped in Giants jerseys. It was him and it was Zay Flowers the entire process because I thought JSN was unrealistic and I don't want Quentin Johnson because he's a scrub. So
it makes sense that they go for a wide receiver though. 4 picks in a row of wide receivers. The Giants, I'm sure, we're sitting at 25. At pick 20, they're like, we're definitely getting one of these guys.
Yeah.
And now all 4 have gone. It makes I can see a Josh Downs coming here. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I would not be happy. We can get Josh Downs in the second round. We could have traded back and gotten Josh Downs.
The NFL draft room thinks that it's Dalton Kincaid here.
We have Darren Waller.
Darren Waller gets hurt though. And Darren
got
Waller's
Daniel
not
Bellinger.
exactly young. He's 30, 31.
Yeah, he's 29, 30, but we've Daniel Bellinger. We're fine. We don't need a tight end, bro.
Or a running back, maybe? Devin Akane?
If we get Devon A-Chain, I would.
A-Chain?
Yeah, I've watched a decent amount of Texas A&M as well.
Yeah.
They were one of my top schools to go to for college. So I was watching a ton of their games. I'm not even gonna lie. But we can get him in the second round too. I feel fairly confident that every guy you've listed, Downs, A-Chain, we can all get them in the second round.
Definitely.
I would love A-Chain. I would love Abonaconda, A-Chain, Ty J. Spears. Any of those guys replace Saquon with that. Trade Saquon away. Get another first round draft pick. Draft Cam Smith as well. Joey Porter. We're solid. I would love to trade Saquon. I would love to trade him. I feel like a horrible Giants fan saying that, but if he's not gonna sign the tender, get him out. I don't want to deal with it. We can get a young guy.
Sign him some before you trade him, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
I'm looking at your defense. You have a pretty decent defense, dude.
Yeah, we got
Really
Leonard Williams, and Dexter Lawrence on the line. We signed Ashawn Robinson.
Ojulari, Thibodeau, Jared Davis, and Okereke. Big Okereke fan. That's a great signing you
I
had.
love Bobby Okereke. He's amazing. Such a good player. I'm so excited we signed him.
We really do need a corner, though.
Exactly.
And a nickel. Brian Branch.
Can we pass on Brian Branch? I love Joey Porter, but Brian Branch.
That would be such a perfect fit.
That's where I'm at right now. Whoever this is, they're getting a jersey, and then we'll trade for Brandon Ayuk. It's okay.
It says you need an offensive lineman too.
Hell no.
Who's your one?
This website's horrible. We have the failed.
Oh, you can definitely use an interior O line though. You got Thomas and Neal.
We have the failed experiment of Ryan Glasgow, or I think, and
Mark Lewinsky.
Mark Lewinsky, not Glasgow. Yeah, it's with a
You
G.
could Osiris Torrance wouldn't be a terrible pick here though.
I don't want offensive line. We can get Steve Avila at 47. We can trade up, get Steve Avila around 47.
I like Joe Tippmann later on too.
Yeah, and plus John Michael Schmitz as well. I know you have him decently high, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought I saw him.
He was in my mock draft. He's
33. Yeah, Joe Tippmann, John Michael Schmitz.
Even later, like I like Andrew Voorhees. What a name, by the way. Emil Ekayor from Alabama. Like I like those guys too. They're projected like 3rd round. I'd be okay with taking them. Plus,
I
we do.
like Steve Avila more than Joe Tittman. For me, Avila is my interior lineman 3, but
Yeah.
I feel like Joe Tittman is more of an indie pick.
Yeah, I feel that. I think.
Wisconsin guy,
Yeah.
but I like Steve Avila more. Honestly, Steve Avila might even be higher up than John Michael Schmitz on me.
Probably.
I think I have them really close together.
A lot of my mocks had Steve Avila in the 1st round.
I have Schmitz at 42.
Siaki Ika at 50. I remember he was like a 1st round pick at one point during the process.
Damn, where the fuck do I have Steve Avila?
Oh my god.
Oh, I have him at. Oh, that is a mistake.
He's so far down.
Yeah, that's a mistake. He's 67. He should be like 47.
Yeah. This is so Zach.
NFL Draft Room predicts Jalen Hyatt.
Zach, if it's Jalen Hyatt, I'm getting off of this call. Like, I'm not kidding. If it's not Joey Porter Jr. or Brian Branch, I'm leaving. I will bid you good night.
It's way too early for Hyatt. Way too early. He is Wandale Robinson.
Yeah, we have Wandale Robinson. We're fine.
Exactly.
I want him to start too. It has to be defense.
You guys traded up too late. You should have traded up with the Vikings or something.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go.
Okay. Don't spoil it because I'm a little behind.
Okay.
Oh no, my dad just laughed. Oh no.
Oh. Could have been worse. Could have been worse. Better than Jalen Hyatt.
Oh my god. We're so horrible. I hate that so much.
That's not a great pick. It's not terrible though. Banks, I think he was like my number 24th big board. So
They gave him L'Jarius Sneed, which I know you gave him as well. Zach, the depression's setting in, bud. I've experienced this every year for the past 8 years.
Yep.
And I hate this. He better be good. I like him. I don't like him too much.
Is he better than Joey Porter Jr. and Brian Branch? No.
Not Brian Branch. Maybe Joey Porter. Also, look at his 40 time,
Who
though.
moved up? They said someone just traded up.
Buffalo did with Jacksonville.
Buffalo trades up.
This is Joey Porter here.
Dude, if Buffalo gets Joey Porter now.
I'm so depressed. We just drafted Deonte Banks over Joey Porter and Brian Branch. This is what I deal with every year. I hate this. This is my karma for making fun of all my friends' teams for making bad picks and being dumb.
Who did you guys pick over Justin Jefferson?
Who didn't we pick over Justin Jefferson?
Oh no, I'm thinking of the Eagles. That picked
Rager, yeah.
Rager, yeah.
We picked what year was that? 2020.
I think so.
We picked Kadarius Toney that year, I think. No, that was 2021. Who did we pick in 2020? He was. I feel really bad for blanking on this. Oh, it was Andrew Thomas. We picked Andrew Thomas.
Really?
I believe so. Because 2019.
That's definitely.
Yeah, 2019 was Daniel Jones and Dexter Lawrence, and my favorite all-time lockdown shooter, the sharpshooter himself, DeAndre Baker. Love him. And his 10 decision.
He was coming out of Georgia though. He was nasty.
Bro, he was raw, and then he decided that he didn't have enough money, and was like, "I'm gonna rob a party in New Jersey." And then now we're here because him and Quentin Dunbar needed a little extra cash.
Dude, so many people have fallen in this draft, though. We came into this knowing it was going to be the most unpredictable draft ever.
Yeah.
You have guys. We've talked about Brian Branch, Joey Porter. Nolan Smith is dropping. Dalton Kincaid is dropping.
Yeah.
Michael Myers. There hasn't been a single tight end drafted in the
Will
first round.
Levis. The only thing I knew coming into this draft was that I was going to want to cry, and I do want to cry. This has
My
been
question is this though: the Giants traded up too
yeah.
to get Deontay Banks. Did you see what the trade details were?
I'm looking for it right now. That's what the Jets. What the
Every year, Rich Eisen runs the 40 to benefit St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Visit
Giants traded the Jaguars for its 24th pick to select Deontay Banks. The 25th pick has been traded. Blah blah blah. What is?
The Jaguars received picks 25, 160, and 240. So you traded a 5th rounder and a 7th rounder.
Okay, it's not actually that bad.
Nah, it's not
For
bad.
Deontay Banks, I like as upset as I have acted in the past 5 minutes. Deontay Banks is not horrible.
It's not a terrible pick.
This is the denial coming in.
I would say it's a B minus,
Give it like a C.
possible B.
I love Deontay Banks, which is the problem. I just hate him for New York. Like what we could have had compared to what we got. It's
So
like-
I have him as an athlete corner, right? He kind of reminds me of an Adoree Jackson, maybe a little undersized.
I like that. Yeah.
What did I have him as? L'Jarius Sneed, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the Jerry Sneed was NFL Network's comparison. So I think it's a solid comparison.
Oh yeah, I probably took it from them. That
Yeah.
makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
Let me see.
All right, what do we have? We have 7
Bill?
more picks.
Yeah. Bills moved up.
Bills had the 25th pick.
They already have
Bills need to do
Dawson Knox.
something, man.
This is either Joey Porter or a wide receiver.
Dalton Kincaid.
I doubt it. They've got Dawson Knox.
There should not be another receiver drafted in the first round. There should not be.
Yeah, I agree.
Dawson Knox is listen, it's a Josh Allen favorite. He loves Knox, but I really think Dawson Knox is kind of a mid tight end. I'm not gonna lie to you. As far as starters go. So if they went out and got a Kincaid who has the potential to be a top 6 tight end,
Yeah.
I think that would be a good move.
What are we thinking about? I mean, I feel like they're going to go defense here. I have no doubt this is defense. They have Brian Branch listed as a corner here. What the heck?
Yeah, he's a nickel corner that plays safety.
No.
If they got Brian Branch, sat him behind Jordan Poyer and not Matt Milano. Micah Hyde, yeah. And let him play nickel and then drop back into safety when one of them leaves. It's a good move.
Maybe I wouldn't say go edge. They've got so much edge depth.
Draft predicts Nolan Smith here.
I don't like that. They have so much edge depth that it is as it
They
is.
do.
They have Boogie Basham. They have Greg Rousseau, who was one of my favorite players last year's draft process. Von Miller and AJ Epinesa, and then not to mention they've got their nose tackles already lined up. They've got Matt Milano as an outside linebacker. Like, they don't need an edge. If that would be a luxury pick. I could see wide receiver. I could see corner. I could see safety.
Here it is. Bill selection. 25th pick. Dalton Kincaid.
Wow. You were right, bro.
Dude, that's that's a good pick for them, honestly.
That is. Oh my God! They lost his hat. His brother can't find his hat.
They're looking for it, dude. They're all looking for it in the back. Oh, they found it. Oh, they got it.
Natural hands. That's such a sus analysis. Sudden natural hands with competitive yak.
That's what everybody was saying about him in the draft process, though, that he's the best catcher of the football.
Oh no,
in
yeah,
the
he is.
entire class.
He does have the best hands. He's got hands like a wide receiver.
My draft comp, I wanted to say Kyle Pitts, but that was a little bit too much.
feel
I
like
said
it's-
TJ Hawkinson,
I
a
mean, that's not
natural
cool.
receiver,
Yeah.
kind of big. He's a good route runner too, and
Yeah.
He
Wow.
needs to get better blocking, though. That's the thing.
Oh my God, young Dalton Kincaid is crazy. They're showing a picture of him in a Packers uniform right now, like a little kid.
The Dallas Cowboys are up next.
Imagine Jacksonville trades back again.
Yeah, the Jaguars traded back twice, right?
Yeah, they did with New York and then with Buffalo.
I really like that pick for the Bills, honestly.
Yeah, that's a solid pick. All right.
You know how salty Will Levis is?
I hope he's salty. He can stay.
Dude, he's
salty.
actually at the draft too. Like he's sitting there.
This is
Been
one.
sitting there for 4 hours.
This is like one of the bigger draft day slides that I can remember.
I know, yeah. A ton of them are there.
If Dallas drafts someone that upsets me, I'm leaving because I'm kind of tired.
Well, Dallas is the fucking
Wait, we can
kings of drafting receivers that have passed to them. So not doing that this year.
Hold up. We can cuss on this show.
I mean, yeah.
I got crap from Tim and Chris on their show, which is why I wasn't sure if.
Oh yeah, that's a funny story. I'll tell you about that another time.
Oh no.
Yeah, you can. You're not supposed. Oh wait. Oh, we're not even on Fans Only Facebook. Yeah, we can.
Okay.
I wouldn't, just start dropping F-bombs here and there. I
I
definitely.
mean, obviously not. Like that's not me, but just like I accidentally dropped it, and they were like, "Yo, Jay."
I'm used to my podcast, my MMA podcast, where like we say whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had to watch myself recently because I'm in my English class. We're like making podcasts, so I had to really watch myself making my mock draft video for that.
Yep.
Like it's hard to because especially like I get into it sometimes, so sometimes I'll just let it fly.
Oh, me too. Believe me.
Like,
but no, it's on FansOnlySportz YouTube and Twitter, but it's not on the Facebook, so we're showing.
Is Colin Cowherd not the dumbest tweeter ever?
I don't even follow him on Twitter anymore. He probably is.
After the Bills drafted a tight end, like the Bills had already drafted him, and then he tweets, "Someone please draft a tight end."
Nice.
He's
Attaboy.
so dumb, bro.
Attaboy.
He's like, Will Levis, where's he going? Nowhere.
Will Levis is going in the second round. That's where. Oh, please let him drop to the third.
I hope he goes to the XFL.
I hope he drops to the third round so we can draft him in the third round and just be like, oh, which one's better?
That would be. Oh my. It's like
No, I don't know if that happens.
Wasn't Malik Willis at the draft last year?
Oh, I don't remember.
I think he was.
Dude, that has to be the worst quarterback draft in maybe ever.
Since like 2014.
Kenny Pickett isn't even like he's good.
He'll be all right. That draft class is like kind of similar to the EJ Manuel draft class, so there really isn't someone who's like great.
Right.
Like there's
I think Sam Howell could be. I think Sam Howell has the potential.
Yeah. Like Sam Howell has the potential, like, Kenny Pickett is the Derek Carr of this class where he's all right.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jimmy Garoppolo is and Sam Howell is the Jimmy Garoppolo where he looks good and he can kind of play good.
He needs to play in the right system.
Yeah. So instead of our Italian Adonis, Sam Howell's our whatever ethnicity he is Adonis.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Cowboys could take Michael Mayer here.
I would like that actually. Like
Dalton Schultz just went to Houston.
Yeah, I hate the Cowboys, but like it works.
It does. Not only are they getting a tight end to replace Dalton Schultz, but they're getting a good blocking tight end, which they need in Dallas.
And he's a good receiving option. Jerry Jones loves that.
Darnell Washington. Come on. I want to see it.
I feel like Jerry Jones is like he like hides, like I feel like he like has something wrong with him. Like he's got like dementia, but he hides it really well.
Probably. I wouldn't doubt it.
Like there's like I feel like the way he just operates just gives off like a dementia vibe. I don't know how to explain it.
If I was the general manager of the Cowboys, and maybe you can't even say it, but if I was the general manager, I'd be like, listen, Jerry, thank you for funding this.
It's his own son.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like, Dad, I need you to
Maybe
stop.
that's why he did it. Because I'd be like, dude, like, let me do my work. Get the fuck out of here.
It's like, Dad, please leave me alone.
Right.
I would so do if my dad was the owner of the team that I was like the GM of. That's also why his son's there. His son's not very competent himself. All of his teams work for the team.
I had Nolan Smith going here. I think that's a good play.
Yeah.
I think DeJuan Jones could be a good play here. Get a good big tackle. They need one. I don't love Terrence Steele on the Cowboys. I know he's okay, but
he's okay. He's not nothing special.
Michael Mayer.
Has Joey Porter been drafted yet?
Nope.
If Joey Porter gets picked here, him or Brian Branch gets picked here, it's over.
They have a decent secondary though.
Yeah.
I was never big on Trayvon Diggs. I always thought he was kind of overrated as hell.
Yeah. He's a ball hawk, but that's all he's good at. Like, he can't actually cover. He just goes for the ball.
He had one of the worst coverage grades of any cornerback this same year that he got like 9 picks or whatever he got.
Yeah. He led the league in interceptions, and he had the worst cover grade of any starting corner. It was atrocious. He was getting burnt left and right by like scrubs, and then, people would throw to him. The only reason why he got so many interceptions is because people were not afraid to throw to him. The best
right, exactly.
Don't get as many interceptions because people are afraid to throw them. That's why Stephon Gilmore never led the league in interceptions. Like once people realized he was a dog, he never led the league because no one
Here
was
we go. Pick is in.
What are we thinking here?
Mozzie Smith
from Michigan.
Yep,
that's a Jerry Jones pick. That's the dementia showing right there.
But I don't think it's a bad one. I'm a big fan of Mozzie Smith. He is the Rashawn Gary of this class, a big defensive lineman, freak athlete.
They have
Such a good athlete.
Kind of like a Marcel Darius comparison is a shout. It's a decent comparison. I have him like mid-second round on my 7-round mock that I did in English class today when I was bored. But like, I mean, he's not horrible. He's got. I thought there was better guys. I think Brian Brzee is a much better interior defensive lineman.
I do too.
Not for what the Cowboys need, but just I think overall.
So my player comp is Jordan Davis. He's not as productive, but the other player comp I wanted to do, but we only did current players, was Don Terry Poe. If you remember when Don Terry Poe hit the combine, he lit it up, and that's what Mozzie Smith did. He has the second fastest 40-yard dash of any player above 310 pounds or something, and number one is Don Terry Poe.
I feel like Don Terry Poe is recent enough where you could have let it slide, though. Like, I did a young Cam Newton for my Anthony Richardson comparison. Like, I genuinely think that Don Terry Poe could have slid.
I was just trying to do active players.
Yeah, of course.
All right, Jaguars are back on the clock.
For the first time in what feels like forever because these picks take 9 years.
Is this going to be Brian Branch? Could they have traded down 4 picks and still gotten Brian Branch?
4D chess play right here if it's Brian Branch. Just like Harry Potter wizard chess if they do this right here.
Be a hell of a pick, man.
Yeah, some Queen's Gambit type shit. Throwing out all the chess words.
This is Fast Twitch.
Is that
A new energy drink
the George Kittle and Zion in the same commercial?
Really? I'm watching a different feed than you are.
Yeah, I'm on NFL Network. George Kittle, Stephon Diggs, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Zion all in one commercial is amazing.
Solid.
Like it's not something. It's 49ers Jimmy G too, but it's not a group I would expect.
Could be our job. Travel. Sports. It could be anything.
All right, I have school tomorrow, so this is my time to head out because I have a calculus test in the morning. All right. Thank you for having me on, man.
Yeah, I'm glad we actually got to do it. Let's do a way too early mock draft at some point.
I'd be down, man. Alrighty. Have a good one, man.
Go Deontay Banks.
Yes, sir. Go Anthony Richardson.
Thank you. Yeah, hopefully. Have a good night. All right. We are how many picks away? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 more picks. Currently, the Jaguars are picking. After that, we have the Bengals, the Saints, the Eagles again, and the Chiefs round out the end of the first round. So far, the Texans, I think, had the best first round. The Texans with Will Anderson and C.J. Stroud in the top 3 picks. That is a great draft day. And I hate it because I'm gonna play them 2 times a year. Who else had a pretty good draft day? I really should have been keeping score of like who got what. Listen, the Bills getting Dalton Kincaid is a huge, huge get. The Patriots getting Christian Gonzalez is a huge get too. Every team that passed on Will Levis is a plus. Good for them. Joey Porter Jr., Brian Branch, and Nolan Smith are still sitting, and Miles Murphy. Crazy to me. Crazy. Oh, man. I might just end this after the Jaguars. I appreciate everybody that came in the chat. We've had a pretty decent amount of people today. Shout out to Jay and Matt for actually hanging in here with me. It was a good time. I'm getting tired, though, so I think I might just wait. But there's how many picks left? What did I say, 5? There's 5 more picks. Let's see. If the Jaguars pick someone, if the Jaguars pick Joey Porter or Brian Branch, I'll stay on. But besides that, I don't think so. I think I'm going to end it after this. NFL Draft Room is saying that the Jaguars will probably get Brian Branch. I agree. Still can't believe the Lions got Jahmyr Gibbs at 12. That's probably the worst pick so far, I think. Jahmyr Gibbs was not a great pick. Will McDonald at 15 was not a great pick. Dude, can we speed this shit up? I swear to God, it's taken 15 minutes for every single pick. Joey Porter Jr. is the expected pick here. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Although I think Brian Branch is the better player. I really do. All right, here we go. Jaguar selection. Anton Harrison goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Offensive tackle out of Oklahoma. They needed a tackle. I had DeJuan Jones higher up on my board. All right, well, I'm not going to stick around after that. I appreciate everybody for hanging out with me today. It's been a fun day. It's been a great draft. Unfortunately, I'm getting tired. We have 4 more picks, so I hope everybody's kind of hanging out and going to watch those. Shout out to your team. If you're watching this, drop a comment and let me know how your team did. Let me know who you think had the best draft of any team. I'm going to have to go with the Texans. And who you think the best player will be 10 years from now in this draft class. So let me know all those. Feel free to tweet me at Drapeau Zach with all of your draft questions. I love talking about the draft. Did a bunch of stuff today for it. So yeah, that was a good time. And all right, I'm going to get out of here. Again, thank you everybody for tuning in. Make sure you go check out FansOnlySportz at FansOnlySportz.com. Go check out my Twitter at Drapeau Zach. And enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your night. Good luck in rounds 2 through 7 on the NFL Network in the next 2 days. And bye. I'm out of here.